Coverage of Marble Fubeca, I'm Ricochet. Hello, friends. Another championship matchup here as you have a look at our gigantic course for a competition that we are referring to as the half pipes with stitches. You see a long, winding course, a lot of half pipes involved in this gigantic course. The way that this is going to work, each team, which will be representing their country, consisting of 5 players, will descend on the track with 7 different types of scoring opportunities. The winner between these countries, who will go head-to-head in a bracket-style tournament, is going to be determined by the country that scores more points overall. This is almost like Plinko from the game show The Price is Right, as you will score different points, as you see right there on the screen right now. 8 points, 5 points, 2 point, 1 point, 3, 6, or 9 points potentially. You will have 5 players that will head down or representing each country will head down that course and make their way onto the half pipes, which we have seen before. And there are your competitors. They are Cameroon, Russia, Japan, Chile on one portion of the bracket, then Colombia, Spain, Brazil, and the Philippines. For another part of the bracket, on the other side, England, India, Argentina, the United States, Portugal, Canada, Mexico, and France will face off, and our first matchup is between Russia and Cameroon. One more look at the large structure. Quite impressive the structure is itself as we head up to the starting gates. And here we go, all heading into that big funnel. This is not a speed competition at all, so it really doesn't matter what order you go down. Cameroon still has one that is way up towards the top as they start to make their way down this large course. And the first score will be 3 points to Russia, 3 more goes to Russia. They put in a 2. Cameroon has not had someone score yet. Which marble will go down for them? 2 points for them. They'll add 5. Cameroon very close. They went the wrong way. They end up with 1. And now Russia and Cameroon close to coming down one more time. 3 down for both countries right now. And they both will add in 1 more point. Down to 1 marble each for Russia and Cameroon. Russia a little bit closer to finishing off their scoring, as Mexico will advance onto the quarterfinal, joining Cameroon. And now we get the Philippines against Brazil. That was an impressive run by Mexico. You see, there are their fans. There are the Brazilian fans. Each country has their cheering section, watching on from the bleachers above. Philippines with the blue and the mostly yellow, somewhat blue marbles. There's a little bit of blue in there, but mostly yellow for Brazil. And one of the Philippines marbles is stuck. They are still at the top, haven't even gotten into that first funnel. Meanwhile, 6 points goes to the Philippines on their first score. Brazil is going to pick up 9. Big run there. 3 more for Brazil. That's 1 point for the Philippines, who are still struggling to get one of their marbles down. 3 more, and 2 added for the Philippines. Meanwhile, the Philippines, I'm not sure what's going to happen here, as they still have a marble that has not even gotten through that funnel. I'm not sure what happened, but one of the Philippines marbles got stuck before the first funnel, let alone the second, not to mention all the half pipes you got to get down. A lot of 3s for Brazil, but if you only have 4 marbles, there's a much better chance that the country that gets 5, and yeah, they're going to just disqualify that Philippines marble. And it is a 10-point victory for Brazil, 21-11, as the Philippines only get 4 of their 5 marbles down. And a easy win there for Brazil, as they are on to the quarterfinals. And that moves us to England against India. That is a very interesting situation that you saw there, as a less than stellar run. Let's see if all the marbles this time getting through that first funnel. That's good. England with mostly clear, and the green marbles representing the country of India. Everybody's going to get through the funnel, so that is a plus there. First marble down is going to be 3 for England. You can see these marbles are rather similar looking. Right now, they are tied at 5 apiece. And now a big 5 spot there. And England has the advantage. So checking, making sure we've got no marbles stuck in the funnels. 2 more left to go for England. Only 1 left for India. Both hanging on. There we go. Coming down to that final half pipe, and it's going to be 1 more point for England. Now both countries with 1 marble left to go. And they are in the same half pipe there. They head down different angles. India picks up 3. England picks up 1. And England with a very narrow 1-point victory, 12 points to 11. They will move on to the quarterfinals. That was a tight one. As England is through, India is eliminated. And now Chile and Japan. As they will head down the half pipes. Already pretty close. And we'll see what our first score is. It will be 5 points. I believe that is Chile. And it has the more blue, and I think the Japan is the one with more of the red involved there. Got a couple of 6s, a 3, a couple of 1s. There's a 2, a 5, and 8 all the way down there. I totally missed that one. Big score, 8. Some high scores here. We only have 1 marble left. High scoring. And we'll end with 5 more. How about that? Japan, dominant. Picked up a couple of 6s and 8, a couple of 5s. And they with an easy win over Chile. Now we get Canada against Portugal. Here in this first round matchup of the half pipes with stitches. All about scoring points. Who cares how long it takes you to get there? Marbles with the green are going to be representing Portugal. And the way that the marbles are designed and the fact that they have a lot of clear in them makes these marbles that are representing Canada look very almost pinkish, almost like a salmon color. And very quickly down, 3 already through. And they have their points determined for Portugal. That's a 5 and a couple of 2s. First score for Canada is a 3. That's going to be followed up by another 3. Just missed a 6. Another 2 is through for Portugal. And look at that. Canada has 2 of their marbles stuck, and they might get eliminated. This is unbelievable. Yeah, that's it. Canada has 2 of their marbles stick against each other, and they will lose this one. A devastating loss for Canada. Portugal picks up 14. 3 of them landed in the 2. They move on. They will face Mexico in the quarterfinal, and now we get Spain against Colombia. That is heartbreaking for the Canadians. Only lost by 5, and you had 2 marbles that didn't score points. Good chance, I think, that they may have been able to pick up, I would say, at least those 5 points to tie out of those 2 marbles. That is really, really hard to swallow if you're Canada, as we get Spain against Colombia. A 1, a couple of 2s. For the most part, we've seen a lot of the middle 2, which is the 1 and the 2 in the yellow. Some 3s. I think we've seen 1 9, 1 8. And look at that, once again. It's happened again. 2 more marbles. And again, they're for the same country. Have gotten each other caught up and will eliminate each other. This is got to be just heartbreaking for not only the players, marbles representing their countries doing the best they can, as Colombia is going to defeat Spain. And once again, Spain, for the 2nd straight time, it is a close match lost by a country that only had 3 of their marbles finish. Colombia is through, and now we get the United States against Argentina. Argentina with the blue marbles, and it's almost a metallic look for the United States. Everybody going to make it through that first funnel. Argentina finally making it through. Everybody's going to clear the second funnel as well. Head down to the half pipes. U.S. taking it very slowly. They still have the last 3 marbles to come out of the funnel. Everybody taking their time. First to go down will be the U.S. with 2. 1 point for Argentina. 2 more for the U.S. They score 1. Argentina picks up 2 and 1. It's a little bit of a lead right now for the U.S. Still 2 marbles for both to go. There's a 6 and another 6 for Argentina. Big run for the Argentines. And now the U.S. picks up 5, and it's going to come down to this final marble. Long way to go before the U.S. will have their final marble hit. And a lot of pressure got to be on. Can they make the right turn? 2 more half pipes to clear. Which way do they fall? The weight of a country on the shoulders of that marble right now. The U.S. needs a big run, otherwise Argentina is going to move on. Let's see where it goes. It hits down the 5, and Argentina holds on. What a run. 16-15, and the Argentines are into the quarterfinals. That is huge. We will get Japan versus Cameroon. Japan with mostly blue and those mint-colored marbles representing Cameroon. Spot in the semis on the line. Let's see in this second round, the quarterfinals, if these marbles are able to learn something from what we saw from some of the other countries who got their own marbles stuck. All 3 that did not have. There's a lot of scoring quickly coming through the 1 and the 2. There's a 3. All 3 of the countries that had less than all 5 of their marbles finished, none of them were able to advance. Spain and Canada had their 2 knocked out on their own, knocking out 2 of their marbles with each other, and that cost them dearly, as they both unable to advance. Low scoring round here. Nobody has scored more than 3. Both countries still have 1 marble going, and they are almost running identically side by side with each other. Let's see which one goes first. There is Japan. Japan's going to go down with a 2. Low scoring. Let's see if Cameroon can ice it. It goes down that yellow one. That's going to be a big score. Nope, heads down the red. That's 3. Cameroon is still able to hold on. And a low-scoring match goes to Cameroon. They are into the semifinals, beating Japan by a final of 12-9. And we will go with Mexico against Portugal now, on the opposite side of the bracket. These are similar-looking marbles. Mexico is on the left and Portugal on the right. Mexico has the black streak. These marbles are mostly green. The difference is either the black or what looks like almost a maroon color. First one down, I believe that is Portugal, and it's 6 points. Good run. Everybody doing a pretty good job right now. Everybody pretty consistent. There's a 1. There's 9 for Mexico. 3 for Mexico. 6 and another 6. Look at that. This one will head down all the way at the top. Is it 9 or is it 6? This could be a determining factor for Mexico. It will, as it slows nearly to a halt. Which way will it fall? It's going to go down the 9. Big run, and Mexico wins it 28-20 on a huge run. 2 9s and 3 6s. And Portugal, or rather Mexico I should say, is on to the semifinals. They join Cameroon, and they will be joined by either Colombia or Brazil. Brazil is on the left with the blue and the yellow, and then Colombia with the yellow and red streaks. Coincidentally, a lot of these countries that are facing off here in this second round happen to have very similar looking marbles, the way that it was able to shake out through that first round. A couple of points up there for Brazil. They are all over the middle of the board, and that's going to cost them. They might be in some trouble. They didn't score more than 3 on any of their marbles. 5 points on the first one to fall for Colombia. They're in a huge spot. As long as they don't get their marbles stuck. They have a couple of them that are pretty close with each other. They're both going to fall. They are both going to fall down the 6 lane. Huge run. Colombia hasn't scored less than 5 on a marble. And that will continue. Another 6. Colombia just pouring it on. And the final one will be 2. It is a blowout. to advance to the semifinals. Colombia 25, Brazil 8. Dominant there. They will face Cameroon in the semis. And our final matchup, Argentina against England. Argentina with that very tight victory over the United States. Won it by a point. England is on the left with the mostly clear marbles and the light blue of Argentina. And everybody making their way through the funnels and down the half pipes. Biggest thing, you just want to make sure you don't get yourself stuck, especially if you're in there with a teammate. First one down is England with 3. Followed up with 1 for Argentina, 3 for Argentina, 1 and 1 and 1 for England. That hurts. There's 3 more for Argentina. Both down to their final marble. This needs to be a big run for England. They had 3 of them land in the 1 spot. I'm sorry, there's still 2 more for Argentina, 1 all the way up at that second grouping of the half pipes. Long way to go. There's 3 more for Argentina. Let's see if England can get a big run. They do. They pick up 6. That was important for England. They had a rough go of it. 3 in a row with pretty quick succession, falling down the lane that gives you only a single point. And now we will wait for Argentina. Long way to go still. 2 more sets of half pipes. Right now on line maybe to score 6, maybe 3. Depends. Either that or it could end up with 3 or 1, depending on which way Argentina falls out of that one. It's going to be either 3 or 1, and it will go down to 3, which is where 4 of the marbles landed, and Argentina again with a 1-point victory into the semifinals after beating the U.S. by a point and beating England by just 1 single point. We're into the semis. Cameroon on the left in the mint. Yellow with red stripes is Colombia. 1 spot in the championship round. And so far, with the exception of those 3 countries in the first round, all in the first round that had trouble getting all their marbles down, everybody else has done a good job. First one down will be 2 points for Cameroon, 1 point for Colombia. Early lead goes to Cameroon. Everybody working their way through down to the final half pipe. 2 more for Cameroon, 3 for Cameroon, 2 for Colombia. Everybody pretty tight. 3 more to go for Colombia. Now they're down to 2 as they score 3. Both countries have 2 marbles left. If you look down to that final spot, that is going to be 9 points for Cameroon. Big run. That may be a clincher. Everybody else is right towards the middle of this part. That's 1 point for Cameroon. They're done. 1 point for Colombia. They're in some trouble now. This is going to fall the right way for them, at least in terms of that last one. They pick up 3, but it is too little too late. Cameroon with that 1-9 wins it 17-10. They are into the championship. And they will face either Mexico or Argentina, who has won 2 1-point battles. Pretty easy to tell who's who. Green with black stripes is Mexico, and the light blue are the Argentines, also with a black stripe. And everybody headed down. Still have 4 marbles that are up in the funnels, and both countries score 1 on their first marble down. Mexico puts in 1 more point. Now it's 3 points for Argentina, 3 points for Mexico. Mexico puts in another 1. That's 1 for Argentina. 6 there. Big run. Mexico. Everybody was really tight, and I think Mexico got them this time. There's still 1 more to go, but it's going to have to be a pretty good run there for Argentina. Everybody in the 1s and the 3s except for the 1 marble for Mexico that scored 6. Is that enough? It really depends on what Argentina does here. Slowing very far down. They're all the way up at the second group of the half pipes. Slowly making their way down, making sure everybody soaks in the anticipation. Soaking in the emotions of how tight this could be. Mexico and Argentina coming right down to the wire. And down the middle it goes. It is 1 point, and Mexico is going to win it. 12-7, Argentina's magic runs out. Mexico is in the final, and they face Cameroon with a chance to take home that trophy. But first we have the third place match between Colombia and Argentina. Argentina able to make it through consecutive 1-point wins before falling at the hands of Mexico. And there is the cheering section for the Argentines. We're on the right side out of the starting gates. And away they go. First one down into a half pipe is going to be Argentina, and the last one out of the first funnel will be one of the Colombia marbles. Making their way down, they race with each other. 6 points to Argentina, 3 points to Colombia. Early lead to the Argentines. 1 point for Colombia. And now it looks like a couple of marbles got stuck. Oh, and Argentina comes up and knocks one out. There's still 2 more that are stuck up at the top of the screen. They're in trouble. I don't think they're going to be able to dislodge themselves. That's 1 marble for both countries. They had another spot where 2 were stuck, and Argentina had one of their marbles come in and knock it straight out. 2 more left for Argentina, and it doesn't look like either of the marbles up at the top are going to be able to move on. So they are both going to be disqualified or unable to finish this, and it will make it a 12-11 final, and Argentina takes third place, and you guessed it, they take it by just 1 point. So that brings us now to the championship match. Cameroon, with the first matchup we saw, they took out Russia, and they have plowed through the rest of the crowd. On the other side, it's Mexico, beating what may have seemed to be a country with the destiny on their side. 3 1-point wins for Argentina, but Mexico, it was not to be against them. The crowds watching on, representing their countries, all the countries that were represented here in this half-pipe championship. Mexico to the left, in green and black, and the mint of Cameroon, and we are underway. Who takes home the trophy? That is the answer. All you want right now if you're these 2 countries is to make sure all 5 of your marbles make it through. First one is down. It's Mexico with 5 points. Second one is down. It's Mexico adding 1 more. Third is going to fall, and it looks like it's Mexico. They add 1 more point. 5 points for Cameroon. They answered. They pick up 3. They pick up 3. They picked up another 3. 3 in a row fall down that third pipe. Scoring 9 points total there for Cameroon. They have the advantage. 5 points go through for Mexico. What an answer. It's down to the final 2 marbles. Mexico a little bit ahead of Cameroon. But again, it doesn't matter when you finish. It matters where you finish. Cameroon jumps ahead. Heads down the 1. And it's down to Mexico. They will finish at 1. And Cameroon, by a final of 15-13, beats Mexico in a tight final that saw some low scorers and some high scorers, and Cameroon will finish atop the podium. Argentina will take their place in third. Mexico as the runner-up. But all eyes are on Cameroon after an impressive run from the very first matchup we saw against Russia all the way through to a 2-point championship win over Mexico. And there are some of the marbles that actually did the running for their countries. And Cameroon will be taking home the trophy here for the half-pipe with stitches race. A very exciting race that, lucky for us, ended up with a just 2-point victory in the final race for a championship for Cameroon. And so that does it for MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. Congratulations to Cameroon, but until next time, I'm Rick O'Shea. Some of the most entertaining and intense marble racing comes from half pipes, the ability to bump and run, the ability to change places at a moment's notice. The same could be said for funnels, and in today's race, we get both of those, combined one after another, as we welcome you to our funnel and half pipe race. Glad to have you here, friends. I'm Rick O'Shea, back with you for MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca as we show you the team statistics here for 2019. Again, a lot of teams with 2 competitions won, as we look at who's going to have a chance to win today. Ghana will take on Brazil, and then Costa Rica and Colombia in the bottom left quadrant of our tournament, and then Cameroon against Mexico and Japan against England. That's the left side. The right side consists of Chile, Argentina, and then Portugal against Russia. Indonesia will take on Spain in round 1, and then the United States, who will take on Paraguay. First matchup, though, as always, will go from the bottom left, and that's Ghana against Brazil. And it looks like it's Brazil with the early lead. And that is the case. And now Ghana goes one way, Brazil goes the other. They're both in the second half pipe. You've got to get through 3 half pipes here before you get down to 2 final funnels, and then a decision on which way you're going to fall before you have the opportunity to make your way to the finish line. Lead belongs to Ghana, and they've got a pretty significant lead. They're into their first funnel, and Brazil is still in the half pipes. Ghana is down to the final funnel, and Brazil is on the verge of being upset in a big way early on. Circling around that final funnel. Here comes Brazil. Can they do the bump and run? You bet they can. They're going to pass them at the last moment and get the win. What a move by Brazil, and a back-breaking and heartbreaking loss for Ghana, as they led almost the entire way there. After they got to the half pipes, they led for most of that race, but they cannot come up with the win. As Paraguay takes on the United States now. And in our last video, the U.S. was in the red, white, and blue marble. This time they're back to their silver metallic look, and they are very close. They get through the half pipes very quickly. Now they're down to the funnels. Let's see who gets through the first funnel first. It's the United States. What about Paraguay? Not going to matter what they do. The U.S. is going to win this one pretty easily by over 3 seconds. A very quick matchup there. Only took them 20 seconds to get through that course right there. As we'll go back to the left side, and it's Japan against England. Japan with the white and blue, and it's white and red for England. Making their way to the half pipes, and another bump and run. You see a lot of that with the half pipes. They are both on the third half pipe now, and we'll see what they can do. Who gets down first? The answer is Japan. They're going to get to the funnel first. They're going to get through the first funnel. Now they're down to their last funnel, and England's going to have to make a quick run. It's not going to happen. Japan's going to get the win, as they led the entire way for the funnels at least, and were able to get that one by over 6 seconds. Impressive run there for Japan as they move on to the next round, and they'll be greeted potentially with Mexico. Now Argentina against Chile. Argentina, as always, light blue and some black involved there. And Chile is really, really going slow. Let's see if they can make that comeback. You bet they can. They're right back in there, and they're going to make a lot more contact. They're down to the third half pipe. Out first, though, still is Argentina. And again, Chile starting to struggle. You can't afford those long time lapses, as there goes Argentina, and they're going to get the win. Still in the half pipe when they crossed the finish line was Chile, as they'll try to quickly get through these 2 funnels and try to put themselves out of their misery, as they will go home after just 1 round, and they finish just under 15 seconds behind, as Argentina advances to the next round. And now Costa Rica against Colombia. Costa Rica in the blue and dark red. Yellow, blue, and red for Colombia. Colombia really moving slowly on that first half pipe. Now they're both into the second, though, and so it becomes anybody's game. We'll see who gets down first. It's going to be Colombia. They make the pass there on Costa Rica, and now they're into the funnel. Costa Rica in their third half pipe. You got to move quickly through that, though, because these funnels have proved that they're pretty easy to get through. And that is going to be the case. Colombia is going to get the win, 32:09. Just under 2 seconds later, Costa Rica finishes. And so now Spain will take on, again, one of the fan favorites, Indonesia, and Indonesia gets out first. Indonesia typically with a clear, or not a clear, but a rather solid white look, but they are clear today with some red involved. They've got the lead. Oh, there goes Spain making a pass. Indonesia going to need to get through that first funnel. Can they make a pass? Yes, they can. They pass back Spain in the final funnel, and they'll get the win and eliminate the Spaniards. By just under 5 seconds, 22:04 gets it done for Indonesia, and they will take on the U.S. in round number 2. And now Cameroon against Mexico. This is a big favorite here in Mexico. They are one of the preeminent stars of these tournaments for our countries in what are always 16-team fields, but Cameroon's got the lead. In the, looks like dark blue. They're in their third half pipe, as is Mexico now. Mexico's going to get down first, just ahead of them. Cameroon, though, makes quick work of both of the funnels, and they're going to take the win, 21 seconds flat, and that's enough to do it. They upset Mexico in round 1. Mexico still put up a pretty respectable time of 26:05, but over 5 seconds after it was finished up. That's an impressive run right there. As we get Portugal against Russia now. And Russia with an early lead. And now Portugal makes one move. Let's see if they can get through that funnel. Russia's slowing it down. They're in some trouble, and Portugal's going to get the win. You just can't afford to take as much time as, even with, well, you see what Russia's doing here on this one. They're going to, wow, very slowly through that last one. They finish over 9 seconds later. You cannot take that long in the funnels if you want to have any chance of surviving. That's just not going to happen. Here's Brazil. And they will take on Colombia here as we begin round number 2. Brazil gets out first. That come from behind win. In round 1, taking out Ghana. Colombia very slowly moving. Both, though, in half pipe number 2. Now down to the third half pipe goes Colombia. They are in a slight advantage. Here is Brazil going back and forth very violently. Let's see if they get out first. Colombia really slowing it down, but they will get to the funnel first. But Brazil gets through the first funnel. Now they get through the second, and they're going to get to the finish line first. 26-22. That's good enough for the win. And Colombia had no chance. Just a matter of just a couple of seconds as Brazil got very quickly through the funnels, and so they are into the semifinals. And now the other side of the bracket will have one of their semifinalists determined. It's the United States against Indonesia. Fan favorite against heavy favorite. Feel like the United States is a fan favorite as well. A lot of Americans watching. Pretty dead even right now. Let's see who gets to that third half pipe first. Both slowing it down significantly. It's going to be Indonesia. Now the United States in half pipe number 3. The advantage really does, if you can get out of this and have a chance to be in the funnel by yourself for just a moment, like it's about to happen for Indonesia, you've got a huge advantage. Indonesia's through their first. They're all the way down to the second. They're circling. Indonesia's going to take out the U.S. That was an incredibly slow round. 41-15 isn't going to beat many, but it will take out the United States here in round 2. Nearly 12 seconds later, the U.S. finishes. Not a very good run for the United States. As they are eliminated, Indonesia moves into the semifinals. And now Cameroon against Japan. Japan's got the early lead. Cameroon trying to see how long they can make this magic run last. Like some jockeying for position there. They're both in the second half pipe now. Both in the same half pipe, and Japan comes out in front. They're in the second funnel. Cameroon's time is running short, and the magic is about to run out. There it goes. Japan gets the win by less than a second. Good comeback attempt by Cameroon, but they fell a little bit too far behind in that first funnel, and so Japan is into the semifinals. And now our last quarterfinal matchup is Portugal against Argentina. And Argentina gets out first, making their way down. And now through the easier portions of this course down to the half pipes. Argentina quickly to their third half pipe. Here comes Portugal. And Argentina to the funnel. Argentina through the first funnel. Portugal is still in one of the half pipes. And Argentina is circling the final funnel. They're going to get this win easily. 29-10, and just now making it to the funnel well after it's over is Portugal. And they will finish almost undoubtedly double digits in seconds behind, and that will be the case as they finish around in a final time of 43-16, 14 seconds plus after Argentina. So the semifinals are set. First matchup is Brazil against Japan. And Brazil comes out first. Indonesia will take on Argentina in our second semifinal matchup. Brazil's got a sizable lead, but here comes Japan. They're going to take the advantage. Japan down to half pipe number 3, and they're through the first funnel. They're trying to finish off Brazil easily. Let's see if they can do it. Brazil making their way down to the funnel. Is it too little too late? We like to say that here on Marble Fubeca, and it will be too little too late. Japan gets the win. May have been helped by Brazil. It looked like Brazil may have actually made contact with Japan and knocked them down through the funnel. If so, that's going to be a very disappointing loss and a relegation to the third place matchup for Brazil. Now Argentina against Indonesia. Either way, this championship matchup is going to face some very similarly colored marbles with Japan in there. Right now the lead belongs to Indonesia. And Argentina's going to pass them up. They take the advantage. Now they're even back up again. And they go opposite ways, almost even with each other still. Indonesia gets to the funnel first. Indonesia gets through the first funnel. They're in the second funnel. Let's see what Argentina can do. They're through the funnel. And they pass them. And they stop on the course. They make contact. And Argentina gets the win. Oh, an impossible spot for Indonesia to be in. Argentina made it through the funnel. They died at the bottom of the funnel, which meant as soon as Indonesia made contact, there was no choice but to have contact there with Argentina, and they just could not get the speed. That's a backbreaker right there. And now Indonesia will take on Brazil, and this is for third place. Pretty even right now. Oh, there's a lot of contact being made as they both make their way to the funnel. And Indonesia passes them up. Brazil is now down to the final funnel. Who gets through first? It's going to be Indonesia, and they stopped. They stopped, and now they're able to get themselves back going, and they're going to take third place. Back-to-back times. It's the first time we've seen it in this entire tournament, and it just happened on consecutive runs that the leading marble has gotten stuck at the bottom as we now make our way to the championship. Hopefully we don't see that here. That makes it a lot harder as we get Argentina against Japan. As we've seen in some previous finals, it is going to be 3 marbles going for each team, and so whichever team is able to finish all 3 marbles first is going to get the championship win. The more blue-looking marbles is Japan, and the marbles with more black on them is Argentina, as they both have light blue prominently featured. And they both have, it looks like, 1 more to go. Right now, Japan is in the lead as they just passed them up. Argentina still has 2 more to go. Japan only has 1 left. Now they're both down to 1. Japan down to the final funnel. Here comes Argentina. Contact! And Japan, or rather Argentina, is going to get the win. Contact was made. Japan was in the funnel. Argentina made contact with them as Japan made their way into the funnel, and it allowed them to propel themselves down through the funnel and through the rest of the course to get the win. Congratulations to Japan and Argentina, as Argentina gets the win. Japan with a hard-fought second-place finish. Indonesia gets third, but Argentina gets the championship as they add another one to their standings for the year. And so congratulations to them. We promised as though there was going to be hopefully some exciting action with the half pipes and all the action they can bring, and then combine that with some very exciting racing that we have seen in the past from our funnels. And so we put them together, and it looked like we got a pretty entertaining race. At least we hope that's the case. And so until next time, I'm Ricochet, and thanks for watching MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. As 2019 moves further and further through the year, it appears as though our courses are going to be becoming grander and grander, and maybe harder and harder, as we welcome you to another edition of MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. Ricochet here, glad to have you with us for another tournament. As you see, our very large and oval course. This is going to be a time trial tournament here today, which is different than what we've seen typically throughout many of our races. A lot of those have involved competition directly with other marbles and contact with other marbles. That is not the case for today, as this is going to be solely on who can get to the bottom first. And they'll be running on separate tracks, parallel with each other. As you see our statistics so far, how the teams have fared in 2019, a bevy of teams with a couple of championships. Nobody has reached 3 yet. Here's who's competing today. Uruguay will take on Italy, and then Spain against the United States. It is India and Russia, and then Croatia and Argentina. Right side of the bracket is China against Portugal, Colombia and Canada. In the final quadrant in the top right, it's Brazil taking on Greece, who hasn't made very many appearances, but they're here today. And then Mexico taking on Chile. First matchup is Uruguay against Italy. Uruguay is on the top with the oceanic blue, and on the bottom is more of a sky-colored blue, and that's Italy, who gets out first. They've got the early advantage, making their first turn around this large and very ovalish course, and we'll see, as they've gotten, looks like a pretty sizable advantage right now. We'll see when these teams start to pick up speed as they make their way down the course. Right now, it's just not to be, and Italy is going to get the win. Time of 25:03. That's good enough by 0.12 of a second to take out Uruguay. So Italy gets the win, and now we go to the top right of our tournament, and that is Mexico against Chile. Mexico in the dark green, Chile in the red, white, blue, and yellow in their marble as well. And Mexico's got the lead as they are about halfway through this course. Well, maybe not halfway quite yet, but they've got the advantage, trying to build that advantage now on Chile, and they are doing that with some success. One more turnaround, and down to the finish line they go. Mexico with the best time so far, 24:19. And so Croatia will take on Argentina now. Croatia's got yellow with white, and they've got some blue, maybe a little bit of red involved there with their marble as well. Mostly solid blue for Argentina. They've got a huge lead right out of the gates. Time to beat is 24:19 if you want to have the record as the best time in the tournament, but you're only trying to beat Croatia right now, and if you're Argentina, you're doing a great job of it. This isn't even close. Huge lead. One more time around. Here they go, and Argentina, just a little bit too slow to take out Mexico for the top time, but they have an easy near 2-second win over Croatia. So now China will take on Portugal. We'll see what both of these teams have, and once again, early on, it's the bottom team who gets the early advantage, but they are dead even their first time around. Portugal and China, and they are still very close. Portugal looks like they've got a little bit of a lead. Here comes China. They've got the advantage. They've got the speed. Can they carry it through? They've got a very small lead. Last time around, here they come. It is China who's going to pull it out by 0.05 of a second, and the fastest time we've seen so far, 24:15. China's got the lead for best time, and they've got a spot in the second round locked up, as Russia will now take on India. Russia's in the dark red with some yellow and white involved, and India, despite not having very many national colors, they've got a very white presence. As Russia starting to pick up the speed, they've now passed India. Still pretty close. Couple more times around. That was a good run right there for Russia. They had extend the lead significantly. And now you can almost not even see India. It's going to be an easy win for Russia. And their time, 24:17. Nearly a second over India, who ran a pretty quick time themselves, but nothing was going to be able to compete with that run for Russia. Just 0.02 of a second behind the overall leader, China. But again, that doesn't matter in terms of who's going to move on or seeding moving forward. That's just for, I guess, bragging rights, if you will, as Colombia takes on Canada, you want to say that you've got the fastest time. Right now, Canada has the fastest time out of these two, as they've got the lead over Colombia on that bottom rail, trying to stretch it out a little bit. Gain some momentum going into the next round. They're definitely going to go to the next round, though. That's without a doubt, as Canada just 1/100th of a second off that time put up by China. They get the win, though, and they will move on to the next round, and now we get Spain against the United States. The U.S. typically in their silver, but they are very patriotic today. Red, white, and blue taking on the patriotic themselves, red and yellow, dark red and yellow of Spain. Spain with an early lead right now. Just trying to stretch that out a little bit. They have just a tiny bit. Now Spain gaining a little bit more of a lead. It's still very close. The United States is going to need to make something happen at the very end. Here we go. Down to the last turn, and it is the U.S. that comes from behind. Whoa, what a run by the United States. That last turn, and they pulled it out to take over the top time, the shortest time for this tournament so far for a single run. Best time, the U.S. at 24:14. And that's got to be very frustrating for Spain, as they equaled China with the second best time, but it's not enough. As Brazil takes on Greece now. Greece has not appeared very often, and right now they are behind Brazil as Brazil tries to stretch out this lead. It's going to be a pretty common phrase. One more time around. I don't think Greece has it. Let's see if they do. At the end, they do not. By 6/100ths of a second, it's Brazil, and so Greece, who makes a rare appearance, they make a short appearance here in today's tournament as they go down in round number 1, and the final spot in the second round goes to Brazil. Russia and Argentina on the same area of our stands. It's a double-decker in terms of the stadium seating for today's matchup. We get Russia against Argentina. We'll see who comes out first. The answer is Russia, and they look like they've got some good speed. Argentina trying to hang with them. They're doing a pretty good job so far. Let's see on the third time. Russia picking up a little more speed. Time number 4, and they are again advancing that lead just a tad bit. Next time around, they will go toward the finish line. And Russia is into the semifinals. Beat them by more than a tenth, and they just ran the fastest time by 6/100ths of a second. That's a pretty significant advantage there. 24:08. Russia into the semis with the fastest time of the tournament. And now we get Canada against China. Canada ran a very quick time, as did China. And Canada with a very slow start. That could be trouble. Oh, they are really far behind. They're going to have to make up a lot of time on these turns in the oval, and I don't know if they can do it against China. China seems to be stretching out the lead more and more. It may have been over when it started for Canada, as they fall behind early, and they will not have enough willpower or manpower to get this one back within striking distance. Almost a full second as China, with a time of 24:21, advances to the semifinals, and they will take on either Mexico or Brazil. But first, we find out who will be Russia's opponent, as it's the United States against Italy. Italy won the first matchup of this entire tournament, and let's see what they can do. The United States, if the top team comes out first, you seem to be in trouble because they seem to have had a lot of speed. That wasn't the case there. The United States came out a little bit behind Italy, but now they've taken the lead. Seem to be trying to pull ahead. It's still pretty close, but Italy may not be within striking distance. Now they're really losing time, and the United States is going to cruise to the semifinals. They win this one by nearly a second themselves, 24:18, and the U.S., after just squeaking by Spain in round 1, they win this one pretty easily by 93/100ths of a second there, as Mexico takes on Brazil now. This is a heavyweight matchup here. Brazil against Mexico. Mexico has the early advantage, and they look to have a sizable advantage now, maybe stretching it out a bit more. Mexico, this was supposed to be mano a mano, and it looks as though it was maybe rather easy for Mexico. They have dominated this run, and the Mexicans are into the semifinals, and how much are they going to beat them by? Over a second they beat Brazil. And the third fastest time of the day belongs to Mexico. That was impressive. And they get China for their efforts there. They will face them in the semifinals, but first back to the other side. The United States on the bottom now for the first time. They take on Russia. And the U.S. got a good jump. Let's see if Russia can make something up on those spirals. Not really. Now they're making up some time. Almost dead even. It is just barely the United States as they come back around. The U.S. trying to pull it back ahead now. Trying to regain the momentum and regain their foothold on this matchup. Down to the end, and the U.S. is going to win it by 0.03. Just did get that win as Russia is taken out. And now Mexico will take on China for the other spot in the championship. So Russia's got the best time, but they do not have a spot in the championship. They'll have to settle for a chance to get third place. Here is China against Mexico. Mexico with a dominant run last time, beating Brazil. And we'll see what China can do. Now, they seem to be pushing out their lead. Mexico had it against Brazil. It doesn't look like they have it against China. One more time around. This time they'll come to the finish line. And China going to win it. And they just broke the record for best time in this tournament. 24:05. What a run for China as they break records on their way to a championship matchup. They'll face the United States, but first it's Russia against Mexico. Here they go, and Mexico did not get a very good start there. Let's see if they can make some comebacks here. Actually, they're going to come out first still. Did not look like they had the advantage. Russia pulling it nearly dead even that time. Now Mexico trying to pull it back out. A couple more times around this oval they will go for the final times. Next time around, it will be at the finish. Oh, this is going to be close. Here comes Mexico, and they beat them. 1/100th of a second. Got to check the timer for that one, but Mexico earns their spot on the podium. Impressive run by the Mexicans, and a great job to hold off Russia at the very end. A great effort, but not to be. And now it is the United States against China. It comes down to this. Western civilizations against the Eastern civilizations as they face off here. Who takes the cake? China with a very slight advantage. Still pretty slight. Now the United States has the lead as they take it back. Here comes China, and they take the lead back. Only a couple more turns. It looks like China's trying to pull it out. They gain the advantage. They come down one more time, and China's going to get the win. They hold the best time in the semifinal round, and they ultimately get the win and earn gold. Congratulations to China. North America did pretty well, earning third and second, but ultimately it's the Far East that is going to earn that trophy and move up in our team standings. Congratulations to China in what was a very quick, very interesting matchup. Hopefully we'll see more of these with our time trials that consist of not really these marbles not really being anywhere near each other. Provided a very interesting setup, and so hopefully we'll have some more of that going forward. But until next time, this has been MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca, and I'm Ricochet. As always, we are happy to have you back for another edition of Marble Fubeca. I am Ricochet here for MSPN's coverage as we welcome you to another funnel race. Funnels are huge here on Marble Fubeca, and once again, we've got those here on our course. 5 funnels here for today's matchup, and then one of my favorite additions to these tournaments, and one of my favorite aspects of these courses. Right there, you see that large grid where a lot of decisions have to be made right up towards the starting gates. For our tournament today, 16 teams as always. And for me, it's a pleasure to see so many fans here in attendance today among all the different teams, and even some that are not representing specific teams who have made their way to today's event. On the left side of your screen, you see the 2019 team statistics for our different countries. Russia, Brazil, and England right now in our medal spots. And now we get a chance to meet the countries. The Netherlands, Portugal, Vietnam, and India in the bottom left quadrant. And then it's the United States, the Ivory Coast, Russia, and France. And on the right side of the bracket, it's Chile, Colombia, Italy, and Mexico. And then Indonesia, who's become a fan favorite, along with Argentina, Spain, and Brazil. No Mexico for today's tournament, which is a little bit different. And now we give you our first matchup. It's the Netherlands against Portugal. Goal will be to get down to the bottom first. And there is that large grid where decisions have to be made. Right now, the lead belongs to the Netherlands, getting through a little bit quicker. Here comes Portugal. And Portugal is going to push the Netherlands into the funnels. They're down through the first. You got to get through 5 funnels. Whoever gets to the bottom first is going to have the lead. And Portugal trying to make that pass. They do. They get to 3 first. Here comes the Netherlands. They'll try to answer back. They do. They're going to pass them up. They're into number 4. Portugal needs to hurry up. They're in a little bit of trouble. Oh, they look like the Netherlands was through, but they got pushed back up. And Portugal retakes the lead. The Netherlands gets down first. They will take the win. Back and forth they went, and the Netherlands gets the win at 37-20, just ahead of 43 seconds even, a near 6-second win for the Netherlands as they get into the second round. An exciting matchup here to start, as Spain will now take on Brazil. Brazil, one of the favorites as always, but right now it's Spain in the lead. Brazil makes that pass. Now they're side by side again. And Spain's in some trouble. Oh, now they get back out. Wow, it looked for a second like Spain might get disqualified, but they get back out, give themselves a chance. They're still about a funnel behind. Oh, now there's a whole funnel in between the two. Spain is in funnel 3. Brazil is just now getting out of funnel 4. It's a 1 funnel lead. That's a big lead to make up if you're Spain. Gotta hurry. Brazil circling around, and just as Spain got to funnel 5, Brazil dipped out, and they'll take the win with a time of 38:01. Nearly 7 seconds later, Spain finishes with a time of 45 seconds even. Just fell too far behind at that opening grid, made it too difficult to come back from. As Russia will take on France now. Virtually no chance for Spain to make that comeback all the way. As Russia and France sharing blows, trading them back and forth. Now both are slowing a little. Russia's got the lead. France trying to get out of there, still having a hard time doing so, but they very quickly get through the first funnel. And that lead has slowed again. And they're both into the same funnel, both into funnel 4 now. Russia trying to retake that advantage. They will. But they're both in the funnel again. Here comes France at the last moment. France is going to go the left side and take the win. Winning it by just under 5 seconds over Russia. A come-from-behind win for France, who did not lead for virtually any of that matchup. But they're able to take the win and set up our next matchup, which is Chile against Colombia. And they are side by side, following each other. Oh, some contact there between Colombia and Chile. More contact, and it's Colombia that comes out first. In the second funnel, still in the first is Chile. Now they even back up, and retaking the lead is Colombia. Once again, they're in the same funnel. Look at that pass by Chile to take the lead. They're in funnel 4, so is Colombia. Colombia gets down to funnel 5. They've got the advantage now. Who can get in at the end? It's going to be Colombia taking the win. Back and forth battle there, and it goes the way of Colombia as Vietnam takes on India now. Impressive resolve there from those teams. Not giving up. Vietnam's got the early lead, and it's a pretty big advantage right now. But anything can happen, and maybe some contact there. And now look at this. Here comes India. They almost took the lead, but can't quite. And so Vietnam into the second funnel. So is India now. India's going to get through first. They're down to funnel 3. Now they're both in funnel 3. Vietnam will make the pass back up, down to funnel 4. They're once again even. This time it's India that again will take the pass. Here comes Vietnam. Who gets the advantage? It is Vietnam who's going to get the win. And India will finish on the other side of the course just under 3 seconds later. So now Indonesia against Argentina. Indonesia has struggled in the most recent events, but they have become a fan favorite. They will take on the Argentines. A lot of contact there. Both the marbles seem to slow a little bit. And right now, a fairly large advantage, which will belong to Indonesia. Argentina still trying to get into the funnel. They are nearly stopped, but they are able to get into the funnel and maybe make back some of that time. Indonesia has the lead, but they're both in funnel number 2 now. And it's still Indonesia. Indonesia's down to 4. Here comes Argentina. We can make that last second pass. Here's Argentina to the lead. Indonesia has struggled recently. Trying to come back. They do. They get the win. A last second pass by Indonesia to take the win. And they will advance to the next round. Ultimately a pretty close matchup there. As now the United States, who will take on the Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast lost in the first round to Russia last time. The United States continuing to struggle recently. Side by side with the Ivory Coast, trading blows. In the lead right now is the United States. Oh, no, it's actually the Ivory Coast who gets out first, but now the U.S. gets through the first funnel. Now they're through the second funnel, through the third funnel, through the fourth funnel. Look at the moves by the United States. They are pulling ahead. A dominant effort here against the Ivory Coast, and the U.S. needs to finish off one more funnel. They've got a sizable lead, and now they've got the win. A time of 30-20. The Ivory Coast running with a pretty respectable time themselves. They'll finish just under 40 seconds, 39-22. But that was 9 seconds later. So the U.S. with an easy win over the Ivory Coast. They made those funnels look incredibly easy. And now it's Italy against Mexico. Italy has had some success recently. Mexico, one of the powerhouses of this competition, as always. Making contact in the pass by Italy. And now Mexico repasses them up, and Italy slowing a little bit, but comes back pretty easily and will now retake the lead. Going to that second funnel, look at the speed on the Mexican marble. Really picking it up there, putting it down, and not enough to take the lead as Italy holds on and moves to funnel 3. Now Mexico really putting the pressure on. It's still Italy in the lead. Mexico wondering what can they do to take the lead. There it is. They get the lead into funnel 5. And now to the final funnel. The speed of the Mexican marbles in the funnel, is it enough to get them the win? The answer is yes. They will take the win with a time of 44-15. Italy led almost from start to finish, but the speed in the funnels of Mexico was extremely impressive, and it was enough to get them the win. And it gets them the final spot in the quarterfinals, as the second round begins with Vietnam and the Netherlands. And it's Vietnam in the lead right now. Contact again, now the Netherlands take the lead. Who gets to the funnel first? The answer will be the Netherlands, but they were pushed by Vietnam, and Vietnam gets through that first funnel. So they've got the lead. Now they're both in the second funnel. Vietnam pushes that lead back out again, trying to keep themselves in a separate funnel. And they do it again. Now they're down to funnel 4. They get through that one very quickly. Vietnam closing in on a semifinal appearance. And Vietnam, with one more funnel to get through and a pretty large lead, they're going to move on. As the Netherlands really had no chance after they had to get pushed into the funnel and got passed up very quickly. Vietnam had all the momentum and did not back down. The effort was there, but the results are not for the Netherlands, as Vietnam is moving on to the semifinals. They'll face one of our matchup winners, and it is Indonesia now against Brazil on the other side of the bracket. I believe it's the United States, their matchup, that would potentially take on that previous winner, as this is Indonesia and Brazil now. Indonesia making their way through the course. Brazil is right there. Brazil sees an opening and passes them and gets into the first funnel, and now through the first funnel with the lead. We've seen these teams match up a few times. Indonesia's had success, but right now, Brazil is making it look very easy. They've got 2 full funnels in between them. Indonesia's still in funnel 2, and Brazil is at the finish line with a time of 29:03. As Indonesia will now have to just finish this one out. A dominant win by Brazil. We saw that from the U.S. in the first round. And now in a matchup that has not had history on their side for Brazil, with Indonesia doing some damage against them in past tournaments, they go out and they dominate this one. They're going to win it by 25 seconds or so, and the time was 26:01 better. Nearly double them up as Brazil is into the semifinals. And now it is the United States against France. France beating out Russia, and the U.S. with the best run of the first round. Time was just over 32 seconds. That was just bested by Brazil, but the U.S. has the lead, and now they will hold on to the lead as France again struggling to get through into the funnels, and it's going to cost them. The U.S. again making quick work of the funnels. They've had a lot of success right now. They're in funnel 3. France is still in funnel 1. Now they're in funnel 4. Now they're down to funnel 5. What a matchup. The United States is going to win it again with a time of 29:03. And again, they just dominate their opponent. The Ivory Coast did a better job than France has done here. Largest margin of victory was 26:01. We just saw that. Brazil over Indonesia. Doesn't look like it'll be quite that big. As France will come across, it's still a 20-plus second win, and it's 23-12 ultimately as the differential, as the United States is moving on, and they will take on Vietnam, and now Mexico and Colombia, and the winner gets Brazil. Boy, those were back-to-back really impressive runs by those two countries, the U.S. and by Brazil. And now we'll look and see if we get one of those here for the third straight time. Mexico and Colombia, they're very close with each other. A lot of contact. Mexico's through the first funnel. So is Colombia. What a move. Colombia takes the lead. Colombia's down to funnel 4. Colombia's to funnel 5. They're making it look easy. Mexico can do nothing but watch as Colombia is into the semis with a time of 23:05. That's about as fast as it's going to get. And a very quick time for Mexico. 27 seconds. But it's too little too late. Their tournament is over. As the United States will take on Vietnam. Those two fan bases sitting right next to each other in the stadium. And the U.S. very quickly again moving. Let's see what Vietnam can do to try to combat that. Made some contact, and the United States will say thank you very much. But Vietnam will say thank you very much. They're going to take the lead against the U.S., who gets into funnel 2. Now the United States has the lead back. USA or Vietnam, who gets the win? They're in funnels 2 and 3. Now they're both in 3. And Vietnam makes the pass on the United States. Vietnam is in funnel 4. The U.S. answers back. The U.S. and Vietnam both in funnel 5. Who gets around and through first? That's the question. Who's got the advantage? The United States makes the move. The U.S. is going to get the win. At the last moment, contact was made, and the U.S. with a bump and run to get to the championship. What a move by the United States, and they have looked really comfortable in this tournament. They haven't done so well recently, but the U.S. very comfortable here today, and they're into the finals. And they'll get either Colombia or Brazil. Brazil right now in the lead. There's Colombia. They're making contact, and they're stopping, and you're going to have to abort it. Yep, they're going to abort this run of the competition as both marbles stopped. And that might add to some bad blood between these teams now. They'll go again. Colombia on the left, Brazil on the right. Contact made a little bit. Colombia starting to struggle. More contact, and now Colombia takes the lead. Colombia will get down to the funnel first. Brazil is slowing. Brazil is in some trouble. Now they're going to get down. Nearly stopping, almost came to a halt. And Brazil nearly cost themselves a chance at the championship. But they are still behind. It is Colombia in the third funnel. Brazil in funnel number 2. Colombia down to 4. Brazil is to 3. Now they're both in 4. Here comes Brazil, and they're going to make the pass down to the final funnel. Great move and a great comeback by Brazil. Can they finish it off, or will it be Colombia with the comeback again? Nope, it's Brazil that gets the win. That was max effort the entire time. And so we'll get Brazil against the United States, but first the appetizer to the big entree. It'll be Vietnam against Colombia. Both of these teams losing in the funnels. Both had leads at points in their semifinal matches. And they nearly stopped again. Boy, Colombia is just going after other marbles. They are in funnel 3, so they've got the lead. Funnel 2, and now funnel 3 is where Vietnam resides, and Colombia down to funnel 4. 2 more to go. Colombia has the lead. There goes Vietnam. Now the speed picks up, and will a collision happen? Vietnam with a pass. Vietnam is going to medal. They finish in 3rd. And the come from behinds continue, as Vietnam will get 3rd place. And you have to know that the United States and Brazil were both watching very intently. As you see their cheering sections, the flag of the United States waving above the crowd as they look for their 2nd win. Brazil has had a lot of success. They try to continue it. U.S. on the left, Brazil on the right. Right now it is the United States in the lead. Now Brazil takes that lead back. The U.S. slowing a little bit. Brazil trying to largen their lead before they get to the funnels, and they already got through funnel 1. The U.S. still yet to get to the funnels. Now they're in their first funnel. Brazil is down to funnel 3. The United States is going to have to make very quick work. They are trying to even themselves back up. They're both in funnel 3 now. And look at the U.S. They've got the inside line, and the United States takes the pass and the lead. U.S. down to funnel 4. Brazil is now in funnel 4. Brazil is going to pass them back. Down to the final funnel. It's the U.S. who has the inside line. It's the U.S. that has the win. With a time of 43 seconds even, they pass up Brazil, and there's a couple of lead changes in the final moments as the United States gets the championship win. They'll take the gold. Silver goes to Brazil. What a matchup. What a tournament for the United States. They dominate the tournament. In the first couple of rounds, it wasn't close. In the 3rd round against Vietnam, who ends up coming in 3rd there, they had to do a come from behind and then a big come from behind in the comeback win against Brazil. First place to the United States. Congratulations to them, as they ran probably their best tournament that we have seen for them here on Marble Fubeca. They had a ton of success here with the grid and the funnels. Went through those funnels extremely quickly, and so it allowed them to have a lot of success in this tournament and ultimately give themselves a tournament win. So the congratulations to the United States. They get the win. 2nd place belongs to Brazil, and 3rd place belongs to Vietnam. So until next time, I'm Ricochet, and this has been MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. Hello again, friends, and welcome back to MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. I am Ricochet, welcoming you to this brand new tournament video here. As you see our course on your screen, rather short course. A lot of funnels involved in this 2-team race. Head-to-head in this tournament, 16 teams as always. You see some of their supporters in the stands for today's matchups. Very short race, though, as you see the team statistics on the left side for 2019, Russia, Brazil, England. Right now in the podium spots. And you look at the field for today's tournament. It's Indonesia, Italy, Turkey, and Brazil. And then the United States, Nigeria making an appearance, Russia, and the Ivory Coast, and that's Vietnam, Colombia, Cameroon, and Mexico. And the Netherlands, Ghana, Spain, and India. first matchup today will be Indonesia against Italy. As you have one more look at the course as they're about to get started. A very quick start looked like there for Indonesia. They make their way around the winding part of the course and now into the funnels immediately. It's a short course. Shouldn't take more than 30-40 seconds for these courses to get by. Closest to us on the screen is Italy, and they're into their final funnel. Indonesia needs to hurry up, otherwise they're going to end up in some trouble. Here comes Italy, and they will win it with a time of 21:05. As Indonesia will come across with a time of 26 seconds even. But they are eliminated, and it is Italy moving on. Now Spain against India, and off they go again. Almost dead even headed to the funnels. Quick one there for Spain. They're into the second funnel. India needs to hurry up. They're in some trouble. Spain has one more funnel to fall through. They will, and they will advance. A very quick time, 17:10, just ahead of 21:11 for India. A 4-second win, and Spain is moving on to the quarterfinals, and now it's Russia against, that is the Ivory Coast, who has very rarely made appearances in our tournament videos, but they are here today. Glad to have them. They take on Russia, and they come out a little bit slow heading into the funnels. Russia down to their second funnel, and with a commanding lead right now. Here comes the Ivory Coast. They're into their second funnel. Russia down to the final funnel now. Good size lead. Ivory Coast is not going to come up enough, as they are going to slowly make their way down. Got through that final funnel pretty quickly, but a time of 18:06 is too good for Russia, as they're going to move on and defeat the Ivory Coast. Back to the other side of the bracket, it's Vietnam and Colombia. Vietnam is on the left side, Colombia on the right. Very similar looking marbles in terms of their color schemes, but what you need to know is that it's Colombia on the left, Vietnam on the right. And right now Vietnam with a short lead, and that's now Colombia who takes the lead. One more funnel to go. Slowly moving is Vietnam. They're in some trouble here, down to the bottom, and taking the win is Colombia. With a time of 20:21, Vietnam will finish at 25:19. Colombia moves on to the quarterfinals. And now it's Turkey against Brazil. And their cheering sections are situated right next to each other. Makes for a fun atmosphere in the stands. And Brazil comes out just ahead. Through funnel number 1, the lead belongs, maybe to nobody. That was almost dead even. Let's see if they can equal again. This time Brazil comes out a little bit ahead, and they get very quickly through the final funnel to take the win. 17 seconds flat for Brazil, and still a respectable time of 21:13, but not enough for Turkey as Brazil is moving on. Here is Ghana against the Netherlands, and their cheering sections are next to each other for this first round matchup. Into the funnels they go, and out of the first funnel with the lead is Ghana. Into their second funnel. The Netherlands still struggling in the first funnel, giving a large advantage right now to Ghana, who's down into their final funnel. Good move to make a comeback for the Netherlands, but once again, the team on the left side is going to take the win. Ghana with a time of 22:24. Surprising to see as the United States and Nigeria will get ready. There's Nigeria, and there's the U.S. One distinction apart. Very dark colors in this matchup. The United States has struggled a bit in their last couple of matchups. They get very quickly through the first funnel. Building a lead over Nigeria, who's into their second funnel. Now Nigeria is going to take the lead just ahead of the United States. They're very close, headed to the final funnel. Who's going to get through first? The answer is Nigeria, and they're going to come to the finish and once again take out the United States early. 21:24, the winning time for Nigeria, as the U.S. continues to struggle in these tournaments recently. This is Cameroon against Mexico. Mexico on the left, Cameroon on the right. More classic green for Mexico, and that is a more mint shade of green for Cameroon. They're both in the second funnel. They're both very close to getting out. Now Cameroon takes the lead. They're into their final funnel. Let's see if Mexico can come back on them. Everybody's circling around. They're dead even, and the win is going to go by 0.02 of a second to Cameroon. very close as they came out of the final funnels almost at identical times, and Cameroon had enough speed to take out Mexico and grab that final spot in the quarterfinals. And now we're into our first matchup of the second round. It's Italy against Brazil, and Italy is through their first funnel first. Took out Indonesia in the first round, trying to do the same against a popular team in Brazil. Down to their final funnel, circling it around. They're going to win this one easily. Another easy win for Italy. They have dominated so far in the first 2 rounds. They win this one by just over 4 seconds. And they're on to the semifinals. Good showing so far by Italy. And now Spain against Ghana. And it is a little bit of a lead for Spain. However, that portion of the track really doesn't seem to be that important. It's all about the funnels. Right now, the lead belongs to Spain. They got to that funnel first. But look at Ghana on the left side circling. So is Spain. Spain gets out first. Now they're both down to the last one. Ghana circling all around. They're going to get the lead and the win. Passing them at the last moment, and Ghana with a time of 22:23. Good enough for just under a 4-second win over Spain. So a come-from-behind win there for Ghana. They're into the semifinals. And now it is Russia against Nigeria. Nigeria took out the United States. Russia defeating the Ivory Coast. And they make their ways now. Nigeria hold a significant lead there, but now they're going to be passed up by Russia in the first funnel. Both down to the second. Who will get to the third? It's going to be Russia in the lead. Nigeria circling around, but here comes Russia to the final funnel. They're very close, but it's going to be a win by 0.04 of a second, belonging to Russia with a time of 19:10 to 19:14. Russia grabs the third semifinal spot. Now it's Cameroon against Colombia for the final spot in our group of 4. And with the lead was Colombia getting into the funnels. But Cameroon's going to grab the lead. They're all the way down to the final funnel. Very quick second funnel. Now they're both in the final funnel. Who gets through first? Cameroon takes the final spot in the semis with a time of a lucky 17:17, ahead of 22 even for Colombia. So give the win to Cameroon. And now our semifinal matchups. Italy against Russia will begin it, with a spot in the championship for the winner, a spot in the third place consolation game. Look at that great camera angle as we begin this matchup. Looks pretty even there. And high above this stadium view. Italy into the second funnel. They've got the lead. Now let's see what Russia can do. Italy circling around, trying to get to the final funnel. Look at Russia on the right side. They're almost dead even. Russia takes a big lead and takes the win. 20 seconds. 20:09, just ahead of 25:05 for Italy, as Russia is into the championship matchup, and Italy will play for third place. They will get the loser of Ghana and Cameroon. And again, we get that great look. And off they go, coming right at you. Ghana is on the left side, and they're slow getting out of the gates, but they're going to get through the funnel first. The funnel work is so important for these teams. Ghana circling it. They will take the lead to the final funnel, circling all around. They're going to get the win. Ghana is into the semifinals. And Cameroon will have to take on Italy for third place. I'm sorry, I said Ghana was in the semifinals. What I meant to say is that they're in the championship round now. But first we will get that matchup between Italy and Cameroon, and that is for a spot on the podium. So here we go for third place, and a chance to stand on the podium with our champion and runner-up. This is Italy and Cameroon. Italy on the left, Cameroon on the right. And off they go, making their way towards the funnels. Looks like Cameroon may have been there just a second earlier. Italy, though, is into the second funnel first. We'll see who makes their way into the final funnel. It's going to be Italy just slightly ahead of Cameroon. Italy circling all around. Cameroon having a hard time getting out of number 2. On to the third, and there goes Italy for third place and the win in this matchup. So congratulations to Italy, as they will get a place on the podium, but now all eyes are turning towards the little country that could in Ghana against the powerhouse that is Russia. This matchup, a little bit different. We're going to have all 3 team members get through. Look at them quickly making their way through. Right now, Ghana has 1 down. Ghana only has 1 in the second funnel. They are in the lead right now. Down toward the final funnel are the final 2 for Ghana. 1 is through. There are 2 of the Russians. It's going to come down to the last one. Ghana gets the win. 23:05, 2 seconds even ahead of Russia. And that difference maker, putting 3 marbles in the final, really made that more interesting and a bit more chaotic at the end. So 3rd place goes to Italy. 2nd place to Russia. Ghana gets the championship win, as they were able to push their first marble through first and then finish up with the last 2 just ahead of Russia, as they get that win by 2 seconds even. That's enough to do it, and that will do it for us. And until next time, I'm Ricochet, and thanks for watching MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. Hi there, folks, and welcome back to another edition of Marble Fubeca. I'm Ricochet here for MSPN. As you see, our beginning of our course, a very long and winding course. A couple of funnels involved in there. We see our elevator that will bring the teams up to a larger portion, a couple more funnels, and then that grid down towards the bottom where a decision has to be made. Each different opportunity there provides a different outlook on the course. For today's tournament, as you see the 2019 team statistics on the left side of the screen, with Indonesia added after their championship, and they look at some of our very special guests here for today's action. All the way to the right side of the bleachers, and they are of course joined by the cheering sections for the different countries. There is the elevator in action. Right off near them is the Ukraine and Honduras. Ghana, their cheering sections. Ghana's got a big section right next to the United States. All the way up to the top, you see the Indonesians coming off of their big win. Brazil has all these, and right below them, very sleek look for Poland. As we have a look at our teams for this competition, bottom left quadrant, and you see there Poland, and then in the top left quadrant of this bracket you have Brazil. The Ukraine makes an appearance. Our defending champions Indonesia and Honduras. Ecuador will take on the United States in round 1. Pakistan against Turkey. And then it is India, Croatia, Mexico, and Ghana. So some of these countries are popular countries, like the United States and Brazil and Mexico, who have been in almost every tournament. And then some, like this matchup right here, featuring Iran taking on Costa Rica. This is a time trial. Iran with the mint, and Costa Rica with that white. They get out first, a big lead early. They're already through the first funnel, and they're onto the conveyor belt, making their way up that elevator. Still in the funnel is Iran, as they're now making their way down and into the large winding section of that red track is Costa Rica with seemingly a very large lead. Here comes Iran. First through the first funnel is Costa Rica. They're trying to get through their second funnel. Let's see if Iran can reach them. Not quite. Now they're down towards the half pipe. Iran is in that second funnel, and decision has to be made to the top or the bottom, towards the bottom, and now into this large section where, almost like a Plinko style, you've got to make decisions one way or another. They are making their way very quickly through, down to the final funnel, a large lead. Here comes Iran, but it looks like they're going to be too late, trying to make their way down. Now here they come, circling and finishing with a time of 52.16, as Costa Rica led that one from the get-go there. And will win this by greater than 10 seconds. Final time of 1:03.15 for just under 11 seconds the difference, and Costa Rica defeats Iran in our first matchup. We'll head to the other side, and it'll be Ghana against Mexico. Mexico, one of the powerhouses, and Ghana, a rare appearance. Similar looks. Green and black is Mexico, green and blue is Ghana, and they've got the lead. Now they're both in the same funnel, as they will make their way down towards the elevator. And they're both in that elevator. 3 prongs separating the two teams right now as they make their way towards the red portion of the track. And we'll see if Mexico has any speed to make up on Ghana. They are both tight, and Mexico makes up the difference and comes out of that first funnel in the lead now. Making their way down to the second funnel. Here comes Ghana. They're both in there again. Mexico is gonna be passed back up. Ghana's got the lead back. How about that? And now they're both in the half pipe, and they're both going to go down the bottom side. Who's going to get out first? Mexico's in the lead. Here comes Ghana. Mexico all the way to the front. They shoot through. They're down to the funnel. Here comes Ghana to the funnel. It's going to come down to who gets out first. Circling around, it's Mexico with a time of 53.18. And they beat Ghana by just under 4 seconds in a back-and-forth battle. A heavyweight battle there. And Mexico, the multi-time champion, ends up getting the win. Now Honduras and Indonesia, the defending champions, in the plain white. Very sleek looking. They've got the lead early as they get through that initial obstacle first. And now they're through the funnel first and making their way down towards the elevator. And it was a little bit of time made up because Indonesia hit it at a bad time. And so we're pretty tight here as we make our way to the funnels. And very quick, Honduras gets through the first funnel. Indonesia still in that first funnel. They're finally done. And they're now going to try to pass up Honduras. Who gets through first? The answer is going to be Honduras, but it's pretty tight. Now they're both in the half pipe. Look at them making contact with each other, following each other along. And now Indonesia's got the lead. And now Honduras is back in front. It's going to come down to who's going to finish the funnel first. Once again, they are very tight. Here we go. Out at the last moment, here comes Indonesia trying to pull it off, and they do! Pass at the last second in the final funnel for the win. Just under 3 seconds, and they make that pass at the end to try to defend their title run. They've made it to the final in each of the last 2 tournaments, and now they will try to continue that. Back to the right side of the bracket, and it's the United States against Ecuador. They're cheering sections right next to each other, and Ecuador's got the lead early. The United States trying to answer. They've been a powerhouse, and they're out first, making their way towards the elevator and building momentum, and it's going to be a pretty large lead. Look like 5 or 6 prongs. They're to the funnel. They're almost through the funnel, and now just making their way off the elevator is Ecuador. They're into the funnel as well. The United States is through the first one. Ecuador trying to make up some time as they are trailing early. Now they do make up some time. They're both in the funnel, trying to make contact with each other. The United States comes out first. They're into the half pipe. And oh, look at the bump and run by Ecuador. The United States is still in the half pipe. They've got to hurry. They try. Here comes Ecuador. They're coming all the way towards the final funnel. The United States is almost stuck. Now they pass them back up. They're down to the final funnel. And Ecuador is nearly stopped. And it's going to come down again to the end. Ecuador with a pass. What a finish. And this first round has been unbelievable so far. Back and forth they go. Ecuador is on to the quarterfinals. Unbelievable finishes. And great comeback wins by Indonesia and then Ecuador to defeat their opponents. The United States goes down as China takes on Poland. They're close, and it's Poland that gets into the funnel first. They get through the funnel now, making their way towards the elevator. And some high expectations after the last couple of rounds. Pretty good lead right now for Poland. Boy, each part of this course can become so important and can cost you at any moment. Poland is through that funnel in the sleek silver. The solid colored marbles have had pretty good success so far. And now into the half pipe is Poland. They are the solid silver. Black and red is China. This is the part that has caused so many back and forths. Let's see what Poland does. They are handling it right now. Here comes China, but is it too little too late? A pretty large advantage going into that funnel. Still struggling, and now down to the finish line is Poland, as China could not get out of that portion of the track. And they will lose this one. Poland is moving on and beat them by just under 9 seconds. That's the second largest margin of victory in this tournament so far. Small sample size, but still a pretty good running for Poland. Back to the other side of the bracket now. It's India against Croatia. And they're off. Large lead for Croatia. But here comes India trying to make it up. Not to be. And it'll be 3 prongs separating these two teams as they make their way up the elevator. And now they're both making their way towards the funnel. Croatia has the lead right now, and India all over them, but it's Croatia that still gets out first. And now they're both in the second funnel. I'll tell you what, India is going after the Croatian marble right now, trying to make that pass, and they will. They've got the lead, headed to the half pipe. And now look at the moves. They are going on opposite sides. They're going to touch again. They make contact for the second time. And Croatia shoots down the course. They're into the final funnel, and they're through for the win at a time of 44:09, one of the faster runs we've seen. They blew through the second half of that course. And they defeat India by just over 9 seconds. That was an impressive run by Croatia. And they'll take on Mexico in the second round. Now it's the Ukraine. Ukraine against Brazil. Tough matchup here for a team that doesn't face off in these tournaments very often. They're very close early. It'll be 2 prongs that'll separate these two, as Brazil has the early advantage. But again, every part of this course can cause turmoil if you do not complete it well. Brazil, Ukraine, close. Brazil with the lead. And now here comes that yellow and clear marble. Trying to take the pass. Won't happen here. Brazil still in the advantage. Trying to make their way down the course, gain as much of a lead as possible before you know it, because anything can happen. They are making their way towards the bottom of the course. Here comes the Ukraine, but it's going to be too little too late. Circling around and finishing at the time of 47:07, and the Ukraine had their marble stopped. They're going to be disqualified. It didn't matter because they were far enough behind anyway that they were not going to have an opportunity to win, but their marble stops. We almost saw that with Ecuador earlier. That is the case here now. And so the win eluding them as they're eliminated. And now this is Turkey against Pakistan. And coming out of the funnel, Pakistan with the lead. And then Turkey. 3 prongs separating these two teams. Very tight in that first funnel. Lead belongs to Turkey. They're circling the second funnel, and now they're going to be joined by Pakistan. And Pakistan trying to make the pass. They do. They've got the lead into the half pipe in the final portion of this course. Trying to make their way down. Again, gaining as big of a lead as you can before the other team makes it to this part is a huge, huge obstacle in itself. And down all the way to the bottom, Pakistan pulling ahead. Turkey is in trouble. They're all the way up towards the middle of that part of the course, and now through with the win is Pakistan. They're going to win this one and move on, defeating Turkey by somewhere around, it's going to be upwards of 10 seconds, as Turkey will hit the bottom with a final time of 1:06.10. That's 14 seconds. That's the largest win in this first round, and it belongs to Pakistan, who will take on, I believe they're facing Ecuador. Yes, they are, as we are done with the first round now. It is Costa Rica against Poland. Poland in the silver, down toward the bottom, and very close, but it is Costa Rica with the early lead, and they may have just pushed the Polish marble down and into the lead. And they're going to have, looks like 1, 2, 3 prongs separating these two marbles. They're both making their way down towards the funnels. They're both in the first funnel. Ooh, look at Costa Rica all around it. They're going to take the lead. Now followed by Poland, who will try to pull that same maneuver on them, and will they? Yeah, they're going to come out first, switching the lead back and forth. As they make their way to the half pipe, they'll make contact, and Costa Rica retakes the lead. Here comes Poland. Oh, look at the run by Costa Rica all the way down to the final funnel. They're gaining on the lead. Down towards the final funnel now is Poland, and at the finish, it is Poland coming out ahead with a finishing time of 51.17, just 3 seconds ahead of Costa Rica. Another come-from-behind win, and they are into the semifinals. Now this is Mexico against Croatia. Croatia put up a huge win. Mexico, one of the powerhouses, trying to take over the lead in the overall 2019 team statistics. For the standings overall, they are trailing early, though, still in that funnel. Croatia is making their way up the elevator. They are gaining their lead, trying to make it insurmountable. That is hard to do. And here comes Mexico, but they're coming just off the elevator as Croatia was getting through that first funnel. Pretty large lead right now. And now Croatia down to the half pipe. In the second funnel is Mexico. They made contact for just a second before Croatia moved on. And now they will try to gain that lead. Here comes Mexico, though. They are not going to go quietly. Mexico trying to catch up. They're now a little stuck. Here comes Croatia towards the bottom. They are close. They are side by side going into the final funnel. And now here they go. Again towards the bottom. It's going to be Croatia with the win. Another tight one. Mexico goes down. A huge upset for Croatia. And now Indonesia against Brazil. One of the powerhouses just went down. That was Mexico. One of the powerhouses is going now and taking on our defending champions. Indonesia has been so good, and they bump and run on Brazil to take the lead. One prong separating as they head up the elevator. And they are both in the funnel, and Brazil all over it, trying to take the lead. They will. They're into the second funnel first. Here comes Indonesia. They seem to have slowed just a tad bit. They need to hurry up. They do. Now they're trying to put the pressure on Brazil. Who's going to get out first? It's still Brazil. They're down to the half pipe now, trying to gain an advantage. Here comes Indonesia. They're tight. They're both headed down this portion of the course. They make contact again. Now they're going to separate sides. They make contact again. Off to the other side. Another hit. They're still with each other. Another contact is made. Once again, they touch. Now they're to the final funnel. Who's going to come out on top? A spot in the semis on the line. It belongs to Indonesia by less than a second. What a finish. And another impressive run for Indonesia. Unbelievable there. That was as much contact as we have seen between marbles. As the final quarterfinal matchup gets underway, Pakistan against Ecuador. Ecuador took out the United States with a come-from-behind win. Pakistan defeated Turkey in their respective first rounds. Right now, the lead belongs to Pakistan, and it looks like a sizable one, but here comes Ecuador. Lead still belonging to Pakistan. Trying to get through that second funnel. You got to be careful about the other team stealing your lane and getting through, and that's exactly what just happened. Ecuador's got the lead. Pakistan making their way through, and they're going to follow each other along. A little bit of contact. Now the lead belongs to Ecuador. They're moving through quickly. They are trying to build that lead. Here comes Pakistan. They pass them up, but right back ahead goes Ecuador now, and they're both in the final funnel. Here we go. It is Ecuador who will get the win with a time of just over a minute, and they win it by just over a second. And we are to the semis. It's Indonesia against Poland. All white against metallic silver. Interesting matchup. And their flags are polar opposites of each other as well. They're very tight early. Indonesia's got the lead going into the funnel. They've got the lead going out of the funnel as well. How many prongs do they take the advantage by? It looks like they've got a pretty sizable lead. Where is Poland? There they are, a huge lead. As Indonesia trying to take advantage of that. They got to the elevator and up the elevator in a ton quicker time. And they are finishing up that funnel. Now they are in the half pipe. Here comes Poland. They're going to make contact. Whoa, look at that. They're going to go opposite ways. Poland, they make contact. Poland's got a huge lead. A big run for Poland trying to take out the defending champs. Now they're both into the funnel, down to the final moments. Here we go. It is Indonesia again. At the last moment, they take the lead. They get the win, and they survive to advance to another final. Their third in a row. This is unbelievable stuff that we're seeing. Unprecedented by Indonesia. Wow, that is just unbelievable as Ecuador will take on Croatia now. Croatia's been pretty impressive. And they've got the lead heading into the elevator. They'll make their way to the funnel first. Followed now by Ecuador. And they're both in that first funnel. And pass made, maybe? No, not quite. Holding him off just barely is Croatia. They're going to get another go at him. This time, though, it looks like Croatia's got the lead handily that time. They do. They get through first. And now they're trying to build that lead. Making their way down. Trying to find a spot they like. Now they finally do. Into the final area before they head to the funnel. They're now in the funnel. They look like they have another sizable advantage. It's been pretty easy so far for Croatia. Here comes a last-ditch effort. It'll be too little too late for Ecuador. Croatia is into the final. And Ecuador will face Poland for third place. And a spot on the podium is on the line. There are the look at the two that will compete for the win. But first, here is the third place match between Poland and Ecuador. Their cheering sections, the grandstand apart, and Poland takes the early lead. Wow, very tight right now in the funnel, and it'll be 2 prongs separating these two as Ecuador took the lead. Had a little bit better run there. And Poland. Oh, look at that move by Poland to get right through that first funnel incredibly quick. They've got the lead. A lot of time lost right now for Ecuador. They're just now entering the second funnel, right as Poland leaves. They've got a sizable advantage right now. Now they're all the way through the half pipe. Very quick run. Is it enough? Here comes Ecuador. Poland got a little stuck. They lost a little time. Now they're towards the bottom of the track. Now they're into the funnel. It looks like they're going to get third place. Let's see if they can hold on. Finish it off. They do. A time of 52.23. A long way to go for Ecuador. They got passed up in those funnels, and then it was too little too late and too much of a lead there for there to be any chance. Largest win was, I think, 14 seconds. This one's just under 16. That's going to be the biggest win so far, and it comes in the third place match. So Croatia has gotten through rather easily. Not too many close calls. A lot of pretty sizable wins. Meanwhile, Indonesia has had to work extremely hard to get to this point. And they are right next to each other at the top of their respective grandstands watching on. Through first, oh, just by a nose, is Indonesia, but getting through the funnel first very quickly is Croatia, and they're trying to build a lead. Indonesia gets through, but up towards the top of the elevator is Croatia. Let's see, was their lead that they built there big enough? Right near that funnel, here comes Indonesia. They're going to pass them up. Another great move by Indonesia. Here comes Croatia. Going to try to test it themselves. Do they get a piece? Yes, they do. They're going to take the lead back. They're on to the half pipe. Indonesia trying to make their way through. They do. Oh, they're very close to each other now. They're going to make a little bit of contact. And now a big run for Croatia. At the end, they're to the funnel. Too little, too late. Yes, it's not going to be enough. Whoa, wait, here comes Indonesia again. At the bottom, who comes through first? Indonesia did it! I cannot believe that. And they beat them by almost 5 seconds. It looked like the run was not going to be enough, and Indonesia is just unbelievable right now. You cannot stop them. They win it. They're second in a row. Their third consecutive podium finish. Poland gets third. Croatia thought they had the win, but they'll settle for the silver. And Indonesia, for the second time in a row, they broke the standings last time and made their way onto the statistics board before this video began. And now they're going to make their way climbing towards the top. Congratulations to Indonesia, and they do it in incredible fashion. Wow. I don't know what else to say, but you just saw some very impressive moves by Indonesia, and at the end, an incredible run. Wow. That is impressive. Indonesia gets the win. Congratulations to them. And until next time, we can only hope we get as good on our next video. I'm Ricochet, and thanks for watching. Today, for Marble Fubeca, we have a unique twist on one of our more common races, as another time trial race between countries for our tournament, and there is a very different aspect. There it is right there on your screen. It is a literal conveyor belt, which will be incorporated in the middle of the time trials here today. For this 16-team field, there are the team statistics for 2019. And for MSPN, I'm Ricochet, welcoming you to today's tournament. As you see the statistics, and now you'll see the teams that are going to compete. It's the Philippines, Russia, Australia with a rare appearance, and Germany in the bottom left quadrant of the bracket. And then the top left consists of Brazil, Vietnam. All eyes are going to be on Indonesia, and they'll take on Argentina, Colombia, the United States, Portugal, and Iceland, and then Mexico, Japan, the Netherlands, and Malaysia. First matchup is the Philippines against Russia. It's going to be very interesting to see this matchup here, just because it's the first one, and see how the conveyor belt moves. It's going to be a lot of banging back and forth as they are continuing to make contact with each other early. And right now, Russia jumps to the lead. There they are on the conveyor belt, making their way through. I don't think there's any chance that these marbles will fall. Oh, look at that big drop into a funnel. And through first, it's going to be a pass. The Philippines has the lead. They're down to the second funnel now. Let's see if Russia can make that same pass. The answer is no. Now we make their way towards the pegs that they have to make their way through. And now this large portion, and all the way to the finish, as the Philippines finish, and Russia's actually going to get stuck. So they are disqualified and will not finish, but they were far enough behind anyway, and with too little track to remain that it wouldn't have mattered. As the Philippines move on, they win the first matchup. One thing to note there is that it does come to a sudden end, as it's the Netherlands against Malaysia now. Look at that very large view. I love that view of the course there. And lead right now belonging to Malaysia, and they're going to take that lead, making their way up the conveyor belt. Great look there. There they come into the funnel. And they are now going to be joined by the Netherlands. Malaysia in the gray, in the lead, and not for long as the Netherlands pass them up. Another pass happening in one of those funnels. That has been a very common happening recently, and I think that's because they've noticed that you're able to make those passes if you come in hard and make contact. Ooh, near stop for the Netherlands. They're slowly making their way through. Trying to get down towards the bottom, and they will finish ahead of Malaysia. And they will move on. And that's going to be the end of the day for the Malaysians. They finish 4 seconds behind and are eliminated. One thing to note here is that there's not as much time. We saw in our last video Indonesia, and here they are, trying to defend their crown yet again. I should note as they continue to win, and they've got the advantage right now, but now it's going to be passed up. Oh, that was so tight. They almost ended up in the same one. Very close with each other. Slight advantage for Argentina. Now here comes Indonesia. There's not as much time for them to make up a mistake, though, so it's really important to see who gets out first. And right now, through the first funnel at least, it's going to be Argentina. And now here comes Indonesia trying to make that pass. It looks like they've got the angle. Do they have the finish? No, they do not. Not quite. They are very close with each other. Who can get through first? Argentina making quick work. Here comes Indonesia. It's going to be too little, too late. Argentina wins, and they have eliminated Indonesia in the first round to end their reign of terror against the other countries. 3 consecutive podium finishes, 3 consecutive finals appearances, and consecutive back-to-back wins. 2 in a row have gone to Indonesia. That will change now. As here is Colombia against the United States, and the U.S. trying to bounce back from an early exit in our last video, which was the elevator video, which I've referred to in the past before as a conveyor belt. Definitely not as much of a conveyor belt as this. Oh, look at that pass! Are you kidding me? Colombia came in behind. They just bumped the U.S. right out of the way and said, I'll take that. They've got the lead. Now they're both in the funnel. Let's see if the U.S. can return the favor. The answer is no. Colombia's got that lead. Wow, a little bit of bully ball being played here by Colombia, just pushing the United States out of the way. And now the U.S. gets back in the lead, making their way down the pegs right around the corner. Great run there by the United States, and they are going to start to slow, and they're having a little trouble, and now here they come towards the end. Here comes Colombia. They push them out of the way again and get the win. Wow. Colombia just dominated the United States there and shoved them right out of the way and said, we will be moving on. Thank you very much. They get the win over the United States by just over a second. And now it is Brazil against Vietnam. That was a shocking run. Ooh, big contact there between these two marbles. Facing off, another contact made. Ooh, big run there. Slowing and falling back a little bit was Vietnam. It cost them a spot on the conveyor belt. They've still got the lead, though. Very interesting the way this conveyor belt works. You can kind of just push people out of the way. And if you line up wrong, you could potentially lose your spot and have to drop back a spot. Vietnam still got the lead over Brazil. A couple of favorites out early. The United States, 2-time defending champs, 3-time defending final appearances for Indonesia, and they lost. Not going to be the case, though, here for Brazil. They'll move on. And so they are able to advance to the second round, and now they will face Argentina. It would have been a second consecutive appearance, or tournament at least, that we would have seen Brazil against Indonesia in the second round. That's not to be, though. They'll take on Argentina. And now back towards the top. Iceland's got a very beautiful white marble with some blue, yellow, red mixed in. Classic green and dark red for Portugal. A lot of banging back and forth there, and stealing that spot is Iceland. They have the lead. It's tight, though, here early on. Really interesting, the strategy involved here for this tournament. Different aspect here, as Portugal is going to take that lead right back. Pass them in the funnel. That's clearly, if you're not going to get the lead and have it consistently. Oh, look at the move there by Iceland. They pass them back. They've got the lead. They're heading down right through the middle of the course. They've got one more move to make now. They're starting to slow. They get stuck. They get stuck, and Portugal's going to win. Iceland blows it at the last moment. Oh, what a helpless feeling. They had it, and they had it easily, and at the last turn, they get stuck. That is heart-wrenching, heartbreaking for Iceland. Oh, my. Germany takes on Australia now. Germany's got a different look. They're black and white here today, and Australia's got blue and red, and they are clear as well, and they've got a lead right now. Oh my goodness, that's just heartbreaking for Iceland to lose in that fashion. Now here comes Germany trying to circle it. They will get through the first funnel. Making their way down. Here's Australia. They look good, and they're going to take the lead right back. You don't want to head down the middle. That's exactly what Australia did. Maybe opening the door for Germany if they can head down the side. Nope, they're going to follow suit. And meanwhile, Australia is going to win. 42:03 the time. Germany's starting to struggle, but they will at least cross the finish line. 7 seconds later, they're eliminated. And one more spot. It's Japan against Mexico. We've seen a couple of our either fan favorites or favorites in terms of their success rates go down. Japan and Mexico. Mexico's definitely one of them. They've had a lot of success, and they are right now following ahead of Japan, but Japan jumps ahead at the last second, and Mexico passes them up as they're waiting for a spot on the conveyor belt. We saw Colombia do that to the United States, and Mexico just did it to Japan, and now Japan trying to pass them back up. They do. That is the perfect way to combat that. Let's see if they can get out of the second funnel okay. They do. They've got the lead, headed to the final portion of this course. Getting through pretty quickly, making their way down towards the bottom. Last move to make. They've got it, and Japan is going to take out Mexico. Very fast time, 42:01. A respectable 48:18, but still well too slow against Japan. Mexico is eliminated. Japan's moving on. And our quarterfinal matchup is set. First one will be Brazil against Argentina. Argentina with the upset of Indonesia. And Brazil with their onlookers and supporters sitting right next to the Argentines. Contact made there. Ooh, Brazil really struggling right now. Getting stuck. And meanwhile, Argentina able to build a lead, but it goes right away. That was a big comeback early in this race for Brazil. For a moment, it looked like they might just get stuck all entirely. Instead, they're able to come back. Get right up next to Argentina here as they enter the first funnel. Ooh, this is tight. Argentina, though, holds on to the lead. That's big for them. And now here comes Brazil again, trying to make that pass. And they will. They've got the lead back. Argentina following them very closely. It'll come down to the end. Argentina with a little stumble. And it is enough for a very close win for Brazil. Wow, only a tenth of a second. But Brazil is moving on. Now it's Portugal against Colombia. Colombia there, the yellow, red, and blue. Big contact, and the lead right now to Colombia, trying to make quick work here. Oh, look at the move there by Portugal, and they've got the lead. Passed them up at the last moment and stood their ground. Colombia bullied the United States right out of that spot. That time, Portugal would not oblige. Big move there by Colombia. Who's going to get out first? It's going to be Colombia. Good move. Weren't able to force Portugal out of the way, but they did still pass them in that funnel. And now Portugal will pass them right back. Starting to build a lead. Colombia struggling in that second funnel. That might be too late. Portugal, one more move to make. They're starting to slow, but it's not going to be slow enough. They're going to finish first and advance to the semifinals. And now Colombia is going to get stuck. And so their day will end with a disqualification as they are eliminated. Just trying to finish the course, and they couldn't. And now Australia will take on the Philippines. Philippines won our first matchup. There they are. And over a couple is Australia. Australia has not been a very common opponent here today. Or here, I should say, this year, in terms of making appearances in tournaments. And a rarity here. There's a spot separating these two on that conveyor belt. That hasn't happened very often. And the Philippines, they don't care. They passed them anyway. Wow. Big comeback there by the Philippines. And now Australia passes them back. This one's going to be tight. Here comes the Philippines. There goes Australia down towards the end. They've got one more move to make, but they're not going to make it. They're going to get stuck. Oh, the pass at the end. Australia does come back to win. Back and forth they went, and they made the move at the last moment. Almost looked like they were waiting, praying on the Philippines, waiting for them to move out of the way so that they could make the move. Don't know if it was intentional or not, but if it was, that is a great run. Either way, it's going to get them into the semifinals and get us to our next matchup, which is the Netherlands against Japan. Pretty tight right now. Japan is going to move on into the conveyor belt first, and pretty large lead. There's 3 spots on that conveyor belt separating these two. I just said that hasn't happened very often. That's the largest lead heading into the funnel that we've seen from anyone. Let's see if that's going to be able to matter. It doesn't look like it will. There goes the Netherlands. They not only eliminated that deficit, but they take the lead. And now Japan trying to take it right back. They will. Back and forth they go in the funnels. That's been a theme for today's matchups. Japan trying to make quick work. They do. One more move to make, and they're moving on with a time of 45-16. Pretty quick run there. Pretty quick for both sides, but a little bit too slow for the Netherlands as they are eliminated. And our last matchup, our first semifinal matchup will be Australia against Brazil. You're guaranteed a spot in a match to get on the podium. That's if you lose, you'll play for third. If you win, you're into the final. Brazil, Australia, like we said, the Aussies haven't played very often in these tournaments, but they are showing up here. Good start. And they're going to have the lead. Ooh, just barely. No separation right now. First funnel. And Australia, yep, they will take the lead. They will have it out of the first funnel. Now here comes Brazil. Australia trying to pull the upset. But here comes Brazil. They will get towards the pegs first, making their way down into the final portion of this track, making quick work. Brazil. Now here comes Australia, and they pass at the end. They did it again. Back-to-back times, Australia makes the move, and they are moving on to their first final of the year. And they'll face either Portugal or Japan. Now that is a very dangerous move in terms of trying to block it. If the opponent is doing that, which we've seen from Australia a couple of times now, that's hard to beat. Good size lead right now for Japan. Portugal trying to figure it out. They're having a hard time doing so. That is 1, 2, 3, and then Portugal. So a good size lead for Japan. Let's see if they can continue that. They do keep the lead into the second funnel. Still in the first funnel is Portugal. Now they're making their way out, trying to distract Japan, get them to not be able to finish the funnel. It won't work. They're on to their final portion of this track. Can you finish it quickly? The answer for Japan is going to be quick enough. They're going to get the win. 47-12. Portugal is going to get stuck. Another disqualification. This time it's Portugal. They are disqualified from this match. Doesn't disqualify them from a chance to play for third, though, so they will take on Brazil. It's Australia against Japan, but first the third place match. There have been some close calls in this one. Brazil fell victim to that. Australia passing them at the last moment. Portugal coming off a disappointing semifinal matchup in which they were unable to finish, and they do take the lead now here against Brazil. No separation. As they enter the funnel. It looks like that's Brazil with the upper hand. It is. They are going to take the lead over Portugal. Now they're all over the place. And it is. Looks like that's still Brazil. It is. Brazil still in the lead. And now they are stuck. They're in trouble. Here comes Portugal. If they hit them, they've got a chance. If they don't, it's over. It's going to be over. Portugal's going to win third by virtue of another disqualification. Brazil had a huge lead. But they see it slip away, just like we saw with Iceland in the first round. Brazil misses out on a spot on the podium. And now, it is Australia against Japan. Look at the metallic looks on both these marbles. At least from our camera, that's how it looks. Ooh, look at that move right there by Japan. They're going to take the lead. They are silver and some white mixed in. A lot of clear, blue-red involved for Australia. And it's Japan through the first funnel first. Moving on to the last funnel. And then the final portion of this track. And they're going to be mixed up in there with Australia, trying to confuse them, distract them, and take the lead themselves. They cannot. Japan towards the final portion of the course. Now here comes Australia. It's going to have to be a mistake for Japan. Will they make that mistake? The answer is no, and the luck runs out for Australia. Japan wins this tournament. Australia did it on their last 2 times, where they were able to catch their opponent in a mistake and make a move with the killer instinct. That's not to be this time. Japan got ahead, stayed ahead, and finishes in first. Third place goes to Portugal. They're on the podium. Australia with a very strong second, but all eyes are on Japan as they get the win in the first conveyor belt tournament. Very interesting aspect added to these time trial tournaments, as the conveyor belt allowed some passes to be made that we may not have normally seen, and it added an extra element of surprise and excitement to our tournament. So we're glad that you watched it, and we're glad that we were able to have a fun and exciting tournament. So again, congratulations to Japan. Until next time, I'm Ricochet, and thanks for watching. Hello and welcome to a brand new tournament. You see a very large course on our screen, and a very interesting secondary part to this competition for what we are calling our Marble Soccer Points Tournament. We welcome you in. I'm Ricochet here for MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. As you see on your screen, there's a couple of different options for point scoring in this competition. It's not just about getting through the course, but it's also about determining which side of the course you're going to come out from. As you see the team statistics for 2019 on the screen, Mexico's moved into 4th place with a win in our last competition. Russia, Brazil, England still leading the way in medal spots right now. 2 teams going to go in a one-off competition, one and done. Most points is going to win it and move on, as is with many of our competitions. That is the case today, as you see the large supporting sections. So one and done, but it's not just about scoring in this competition. As you look at the cup we're competing for today in another marble soccer event. And we'll show you the teams. The Philippines, Russia, Brazil, and Germany. United States, Vietnam, India, and Argentina. On the left side of the bracket. On the right side, it's Belgium, Indonesia, Mexico, and Chile. And then Malaysia, Portugal, France, and Colombia. The way that this competition is going to work, it's one team against another, and this first competition will be the Philippines against Russia. You've got to get through the competition, or through the course, and then decide which one you're going to go through, either the 2 or the 5. Then you have to make it into the goal as the teams are off, and then you'll receive that amount of points for which spot you went through, whether it's 2 or 5. As we see a couple go through the 2, only one went in though. It's the Philippines, and they're going to win it. They're going to win this competition 2-0, and be the first team to make it into the quarterfinals. You see on the replay, 1, 2, 3 different marbles made it through the 2. Nobody made it through 5, but only one made it to the back of the net, and that's what matters. Not just where you're going, whether it's going through the 2 spot that'll get you 2 points, or the 5 that will earn you a significantly higher amount of points, but you also have to then make it into the goal. That's the case for the Philippines, and they're moving on, as our next competition matchup is going to be France against Colombia. And you're battling with the other team to see which side you come through. A lot of people going through the 5, and the only one to make it into the goal is Colombia. And they're going to win this one 5-0. If you go towards the side, as you see, one of the Colombian marbles didn't even make it down the course. but they still get the win. If you go down the closer on the screen, the closer option, the lower funnel and lower part of the course there, you're going to have a better opportunity to score 5. If you're up towards the higher part, it's going to be a higher opportunity to score just 2 points. But you have to make it through the goal, which we've seen 2 of the 4 teams so far haven't even been able to do that. And so it doesn't matter which side you go through if you don't put it in the back of the net. This is Argentina against India now. And India is going to send a bunch through the 2. A lot of oh my goodness, a lot of goals all over the place. Argentina scores 2, India scores 3. They're all in the 2. And the final score, with that last one right there for India coming in late, is India 6, Argentina 4. India moves on in a action-packed competition there. Now we get Belgium against Indonesia, who impressed in their last competition. Made it all the way to the championship. Settled for silver. There they go. Belgium gets out first. And the only one to score is going to be Indonesia, and they're going to score twice. 1 through the 2 and 1 through the 5. And Indonesia gets the win 7-0. Another easy win for Indonesia. There was the 2, and then all alone. And an easy one, just had to make their way through the little hole there. And Indonesia gets a 7-0 win. Next up is Germany against Brazil. Germany in the black. Brazil with a minty green in today's competition. Who gets down first? It's going to be mostly Germany, and they'll put a few in the back of the net, as does Brazil. Brazil's going to get the win, though. 4-2 the final. And one of their marbles, once again, a couple of times now that the winning team has had one of their marbles get stuck and unable to complete the course. A couple went through, but right off the post, and that's what costs Germany off the right post and does not go through. And so Brazil is moving on. And now it's Malaysia against Portugal. Interesting twist in the competition that it really does matter which side of the half pipe you come out on. Malaysia with the sleek gray look. Everybody's going to make it through this time, and they're headed towards every which way. They all end up in the 2s. 3 of them go in for Malaysia. Only 1 scores for Portugal, and Malaysia gets the win 6-2. Look at that. They changed from where you would think they would go in the 5. They moved up the course through the 2 and had success there, enough to get the win. Malaysia's moving on to take on Colombia in the second round. And now the matchup is I would say, highly anticipated one. Vietnam against the United States. The USA always has success, and Vietnam has done well in their last couple of competitions. They're going to get to the half pipe first. Which way are they going to go? They're going to go through the 5. Now they're going to get to the 2. Another 2. Here comes the US. They're only going to put 1 in. No, they put in 2. And the United States gets the win 5-4. 2 scores for Vietnam. The U.S. only got 1, but it's a 5. And it got some help from Vietnam. An assist there that allows the U.S. to take out their opponent and move on to the second round. They'll take on India in the quarterfinals, and that's going to be a devastating loss for Vietnam there, as it looked like they were going to get that win, and they ultimately helped the U.S. along. Moving on now to Chile against Mexico. Mexico won our last competition, and they are going to get to the half pipe first. Every which way they go. Mexico's got 1, Mexico's got 2, and they've got a 7-0 win. Nothing went through for Chile. There was the 5 for Mexico, and then clearing the way, another 2 points go, and Mexico has the second shutout win of a 7-0 score. Brazil against the Philippines as we begin round number 2. Spots in the semifinals starting to be on the line here. Brazil and the Philippines. It's all Brazil. 1 at the end. There's 2 at the end now. The Philippines made a run for it, but it's 7-4 in the final. Brazil put in a 5 and a 2, and the Philippines way later put in a couple more. Wow, almost another 5 went in. And then there's the first and the second of the 2 twos that were put in for the Philippines, but it's too little too late, as Brazil earned a big enough lead that they will advance to the semifinals with a 7-4 win. Now we get Colombia against Malaysia. Up at the starting grid, and here we go. One of the Colombian marbles again struggling. Let's see if everybody can get it onto the course. The answer is yes, and a couple of 2s for Colombia. 1 for Malaysia, another 2 for Colombia, and at the last moment, Malaysia had one more chance, but they cannot put it in. And so Colombia moves on with a 4-2 final. There was 1 for each, and then there, with on a ricochet there, Colombia able to put the extra one in, and then blocking the way, no chance for Malaysia when they decided they were going to go for a 2. No opportunity really there, as Colombia had the way blocked, and they move on to the semifinals. Now India against the United States. Winner takes on Brazil in the semifinals. Making their way down pretty easily here. Everybody's going to get their chance. And the U.S. puts in 2. There's a couple of 2s for India. And that's going to do it. India's going to win by a final of 4-2. And they block the way, where the United States was going to have a hard time scoring another. There they were, all 3 at the very beginning able to score. And there was the one that really cost the U.S. And they blocked it there, after nearly, for the second time, the opponent helping out the United States. So India moving on to the semifinals. They take on Brazil. And now Mexico and Indonesia, which was the matchup for the championship in our last competition, which was just a regular marble soccer. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and check it out. Now they face off here with a spot in the semifinals on the line. Indonesia gets the first try. They're going to get through for 2. And that might be it. It will be it. Indonesia scores 2. Both these competitions, or both these teams, won 7-0 in their first round. This time only 2 points combined, and Indonesia's onto the semifinals for the second consecutive tournament. Back to the other side, though, of this bracket, and it's Brazil against India. Brazil building a large lead against the Philippines, and India taking out the United States to get to where they are. Everybody slowly making their way down. One of the Brazilian marbles is stuck, and so is another Brazilian marble and an Indian marble. 3 of the 6 total marbles unable to score. Brazil wins it 2-0. We'll have to check the replay, as their only marble to get through scored. The 2 Indian marbles hit it right in the middle. An easy score for Brazil, and they get the win in a wild one to move on to the championship. Something tells me that is not going to do against whoever comes out of this matchup between Colombia and Indonesia in the championship round. And their supporters are right next to each other. The top 2 rows Indonesia, the bottom 3 below that are the Colombians. And now they face each other. There is a couple for Indonesia. And that's it. Another 7-0 win. Indonesia has not allowed their opponent to score in their first 3 rounds of competition, and they're going into the championship with a shutout going. They've outscored their opponents 16-0 here, and nearly another 2 at the end there for Indonesia. And they've got 2 of the 3 times that we've seen a 7-0 score. But first, our 3rd place game before we get Brazil and Indonesia. We get India and Colombia for a spot on the podium. And everybody makes it through this time, and a lot of scores. All 3 scored for India, but it's not enough. Colombia put in a 5 to mix in with their 2, and they're going to win it 7-6. So the 3rd place goes to Colombia, and now the matchup between Brazil and Indonesia. Once again, a big powerhouse country against the smaller Indonesia, trying to avenge what they did last time in the 2nd place win. They have not allowed their opponent to score at all That is going to change right there. Brazil puts in a couple. Indonesia put in one. Indonesia put in a 5, and they win the tournament. Brazil put in 2, but they were both 2s. That only counts for 4, and right there, rolling across the line, Indonesia wins this one. They win the Marble Soccer Points Tournament. They get the gold. The bronze goes to Colombia. Brazil has to settle for silver. And gold today belongs to Indonesia. Congratulations to them as they avenge the second place finish in their previous tournament. They take out the team they lost to in the championship then. In Mexico, they take them out in the quarterfinal matchup. They allow only 4 points total, and they outscore their opponents 21-4 throughout this tournament to get the win. Congratulations to Indonesia. They dominate this tournament and get the gold. Until next time, I'm Ricochet, and thanks for watching MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. Women's World Cup in action right now. We bring you our version of the World Cup. It's Marble Soccer. Hello, welcome to MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. I'm Ricochet, glad to have you here for our Marble Soccer tournament. There is the beautiful cup that these teams will be competing for. 16 teams. There are many representatives of those teams, and some of the countries that aren't even being represented here today in this competition have some fans and onlookers watching on. See Argentina, we saw Vietnam just a second ago. Large supporting sections as always for Brazil. We've got Indonesia in this tournament. And down, of course, towards the bottom, the United States, one of the powerhouses of this competition. The way that this tournament will work is very simple. You're going to get one run with each other, kind of like collision soccer. And at the end of that one turn, which will be 3, I think it's 3 marbles we're running at a time, whoever comes up with the most points, most goals scored, will move on. One and done. So the opportunities and the margin for error, very limited here in this competition. As you look at the 2019 team statistics, Brazil, Russia, England, right now in the medal spots, all the way down to Cameroon in 14th. And a look at our field for today's competition. Indonesia against France, and the Netherlands against Brazil in the bottom left quadrant. Top left is Argentina, Russia, Vietnam, and the Korean Republic. On the right side, it's the Philippines, Mexico, Colombia, and India. And then Malaysia, Portugal, and it's Canada against the United States in round number 1. But first we start in the bottom left of our bracket, and our first matchup today will be Indonesia against France. To the starting gates, and it is 4 marbles that will go for each of our teams. France in the dark blue, Indonesia in the clean white, and they are off, and the scoreboard shows 2-1 Indonesia. They will take out France. Here's a look at the replay. On the right side, you see France's first goal. There was Indonesia, and there's the winner on the left side of the screen, just sneaking in. And Indonesia will move on, beating France 2-1. It's the top right of the screen, and it is, or top right of the bracket, it's the United States against Canada. This is a big-time matchup. Canada on the left side in the mostly clear, USA in the silver. The United States has one. Here comes Canada. They're not going to get anything. And the U.S. lands one in the right goal, and that's enough to win it. Right there is the winner. And it looked for a moment as though a couple of the Canadian marbles were going to have a chance to roll their way in. They cannot. And the USA advances to the quarterfinals. Next up is Vietnam against the Korean Republic. There's Korea. There is Vietnam. Vietnam had a lot of success in their last tournament that they participated in. They're in the yellow. And they scored at least one there. Here comes another one. They will score again, and Vietnam with a 2-0 win over Korea. Put one in at the end there for some good measure. Right at the beginning they score one, and then at the end, wasn't the same marble. It almost looked for a second as though it was the same marble that scored twice. It wasn't, but it is 2 marbles for Vietnam that find their way into the goals and win this one by a final of 2-0. Mexico against the Philippines now. Mexico again in the green and black, and the Philippines white, blue, red. Matchups. Oh, that's at least 2 for Mexico. The Philippines won't do anything, and Mexico scores 2 right off the bat in the right corner, and are able to win this one by a final of 2-0. There's 1, there's 2, and that's all they need. One held it in the basket, the other one came back out of the goal to try to score another, but it's 2-0 again, and that is 3 consecutive rounds now that we've seen one of the teams being held scoreless. The U.S. won 1-0, Vietnam won 2-0, and they're Mexico 2-0. This matchup is the Netherlands and Brazil. Very colorful and unique marbles here. That may have been a couple for Brazil. It's 3-1 as the Netherlands pick up 1. I'll tell you what, that 1 marble for the Netherlands trying to score again. That was the one that did score for the Netherlands, and 1-2. And then on the left side, you saw Brazil put in 1 extra one. And then the Netherlands score their 1 marble. It's a 3-1 win, and Brazil is moving on. They will face Indonesia in the second round. Back to the right side, and it's Malaysia in the yellow and black. Maybe it's brown, hard to tell there. They'll take on Portugal in the green. They are off, and Malaysia scores a couple. Portugal puts in only 1, and Malaysia is going to move on to take on the United States. 1 on each side for Malaysia. Made contact right in the middle of the field there and split off one way and the other, and they both go in. So a good run there for Malaysia. They're going to take on the U.S. And now it's Russia against Argentina, and the winner gets Vietnam. Argentina in the white and light blue. Almost solid red for Russia. And they will be denied. Oh, at the last moment. Nope, that marble is not going to go. Right on the line. It does not cross. And Russia is eliminated by a 1-0 score. There's the 1 score off the post and in for Argentina. And at the very end, Russia unable to get that last marble to just roll a little bit further. About 50-50, but it's got to go in. It did not, and Russia is eliminated. Argentina is moving on. That is an absolute killer. And now the final first round matchup is India against Colombia. Colombia in their classic yellow, blue, and red. Oh, somebody fell off the entire course. Here comes India at the last moment to score and win. Yeah, look at that. It looked like it was, one of the Indian marbles didn't even make it onto the course properly. Fell off the ramp there at the last second. Rolling in, and none of the Colombian marbles were there to try to make a block. And so, unimpeded, India goes in for the score and the 1-0 win. And the first round is complete. And now we play for a spot in the semifinals. First matchup is Indonesia against Brazil. Brazil put in 3, which was the most we've seen in the first round. They take on the first game winner, and that's Indonesia, who has 1. Indonesia now has 2, and Brazil doesn't pick up any. How about that? Indonesia with a bit of an upset. They win this one by a final of 2-0. And they've outscored their opponents 4-1 now through their first 2 rounds as they head to the semifinals. And they are now guaranteed a spot at least in a competition to get onto the podium for Indonesia, who doesn't always participate. Here's one team that always does participate, the United States, as they take on Malaysia. 3 entire rows of supporters for both of these countries. Yellow and black against silver and white. They are off. And the United States has a couple. Malaysia put in 1, but it's 3 for the United States, and the USA is moving on. The left side put in 2 for the US, and the right side had 1 for each, so it's the left side scoring only US goals that ends up costing Malaysia their chance. And the United States is on to the semifinals, and now Argentina takes on Vietnam. Vietnam in the red and yellow. They've got 1. And it looks like that might be all we get. Everybody else is towards the center of the field. It is. And Vietnam wins it by a final of 1-0. They are on to the semifinals in a low-scoring affair. And they're going to get... It's going to be Indonesia against Vietnam in one of the semifinals. The United States waits for the winner of India and Mexico. India winning with that last-second goal. Mexico looks pretty confident in their win. Did Mexico score? I don't know if we had a score there. Yep, we did get one. As the scoreboard shows Mexico won. Yeah, there it is. It came out very quickly, but it did go in at the very beginning. Mexico is moving on as they shut out India 1-0. Into the semifinals now. 2 powerhouses, the United States and Mexico. 2 underdogs, Indonesia and Vietnam. We begin with the underdogs. Indonesia had a nice run there last time. And they're going to do it again. They're going to get another one to fall in. The last one at the end for an exclamation mark couldn't quite go, but 2-1, Indonesia is into the final. Once again, the inability to block becomes very important as that one Vietnam marble unable to block the other Indonesian. And Indonesia nearly put in a third one just for good measure. 2-1 ends up as the final. And now we get the United States against Mexico. And they are off. Mexico's got a couple. The U.S. is in trouble. They're not going to score any. 2-0. Mexico is into the finals. As the U.S. is unable to score. And now we will see Vietnam against the United States for third place. Disappointing finish for the U.S., who looked pretty easy, pretty confident going through those first 2 rounds, but now they're going to have to battle with Vietnam for a spot on the podium. The United States have 2, maybe 3. They do give them that third one. Vietnam scored only 1, and 3-1 is the final. The U.S. takes third place. They get on the podium. And now the sights are turned towards Mexico and Indonesia. Mexico has had a lot of success in these tournaments, getting deep into the tournament runs. They've won a couple of tournaments. They look for another against Indonesia, a huge underdog. But Indonesia has been very impressive. As you see there, 2 rows of supporters, 3 full rows for Mexico. Maybe a little bit of David versus Goliath as they head to the field. Mexico's got a couple. Indonesia scored only 1. Mexico is going to win it 3-1, the final, and the Mexicans again take home the gold. Valiant effort by Indonesia, but they had a couple of marbles that didn't even make contact with anyone else, and when you have a couple of marbles that just run free, makes it a lot harder. Mexico is the winner. Indonesia gets the runner-up spot, and third place to the United States. impressive run by Indonesia, but it wasn't to be as Mexico gets the win. They take home a very impressive trophy for this competition. First place to Mexico, second place to Indonesia, and the bronze goes to the United States. Congratulations to Mexico and all of our competitors, as this was a very hard-fought competition. And ultimately, the Mexicans take home gold for the marble soccer. So until next time, I'm Ricochet, and thanks for watching MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. Hello friends, and welcome back to MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. I'm Ricochet here as we bring you another collision tournament. A look at our large course. It is a pleasure to be back with you for another collision-style tournament, which will face, and we will see a lot of different teams. 16 teams once again in this field. A smaller, less time-consuming, I guess you should say, tournament, as we will get just one round. There are the 2019 team statistics for these countries. There are 13 of them. We have 16 in this field. It is the United States, Cameroon, India, and Germany, and then Russia, Chile, Colombia, and Mexico on the left side of the bracket. The bottom right quadrant has, that is Belgium, and Portugal, and then Spain, and Brazil, and then Japan, England, the Netherlands, and Argentina. As we get ready for this tournament, this is a smaller, less time-consuming tournament. Same amount of teams, but instead of multiple goes, it'll be just one turn, as you'll make your way into the arena, make contact with those spinners. As you can see, this is a course that really throws you right in there with the spinners. The United States in the blue and red, Cameroon with green, and they make their way toward the course. One is in for Cameroon, everybody else rolling around, and it looks like nobody else is going to land. The United States doesn't get a single marble to go in. You'll have to watch up at the top of your screen, almost blocked by our view, but there it is. The only score is 3 points for Cameroon, and so maybe a what will be considered an upset by many, as Cameroon moves on first. They beat the United States, and we head to the other opposite side of the bracket. It is Argentina against the Netherlands. Argentina in the blue, and the Netherlands in orange. These matte colored marbles. All together, they make their way in. Everybody slowly over toward the 4 is almost everyone. Nobody gets in again, and so it's one, again, single marble that will end up as the score. Watch here, contact made with a spinner, knocked it right in, and it's 3 points for Argentina, and they move on to the quarterfinals. An interesting start, as both Cameroon and Argentina score just one, and the Netherlands and the United States are shut out, and they go home. Now to Mexico against Colombia. Mexico sporting a new marble with almost entirely green, and they scored all 3. Let's see if any go in for Colombia. They get one to go in the 8, but that is too little too late. Mexico scores 13 points. There was one that lands in the 7, one in the 2, one in the 4. And then some help from the spinners to score a point, but just one single score is not going to be enough from Colombia, as Mexico's 13 points will stand up, and they are into the quarterfinals. Back to the bottom right corner now, and it'll be Portugal against Belgium. Belgium in the black, Portugal in the green. Love the matte coloring of these marbles. In they go. Everyone making their way around. Everybody is still on the course right now. Will anybody find their way in? Wow, at the last moment, Portugal gets one to fall in the 7, and they will score another shutout. It took a little bit of time. For a second, it looked as though there may have to be a rerun, as almost a possibility there that nobody was going to score. But Portugal takes out Belgium, And now, it is Germany against India. India in the white, Germany with mostly black. Make their way down toward the course. And there are marbles going every which way. One landed in the 10. I think that's the only one that's going to land because the one for Germany is over by the 6, but it's not going to go in, and so the points won't count. A 10 for India. They move on by a shutout score of 10-0. And yet again, issues with some of these teams to even score. Now we get England against Japan. Japan is the white with blue. Looks like that's dark red for England. There's a 2. And I missed the other one for England, but they scored another one as well, and it looks like Japan trying to get something to go. Getting knocked around a bunch of times, but they are not going to be able to score. They will fall just short in front of the 2. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. Yeah, I missed right there at the bottom of the screen. You saw the 7. And then 2 more for England. Yet another shutout. England is on. They'll face Argentina. And our last 2 spots, one will be occupied by either Chile or Russia. Interesting how this shoot puts you right in with the spinners and forces action. Chile in the white. Everybody making their way down. There's a couple of 8s for Chile, and 8 put on for Russia. Everybody else is going to hold as they are, and Chile is going to win and move on. Looked like Chile had one of their own marbles knock in another marble, and so they both score 8, and they win it by a score of 16-8. And the last matchup in this first round is Brazil against Spain. Spain is on the left side in the red, Brazil with mostly yellow. Into the course they come. I think that was a 10 for Brazil. Everybody trying to find their way in. That's 2 more for Brazil. Spain trying to get something to go. Almost knocked it in the 10. Still going. Knocked in Brazil. Brazil picks up another one. They score 15 with an assist from Spain at the end. And Spain cannot knock one of their own marbles in. And so the quarterfinals are set. It is Cameroon against India, as they will determine the first of our final 4. India in the white, Cameroon in the green. It was an interesting matchup where Spain helped out Brazil. That was a 7, and then a 4 and a 2. And so India with their 7 that you'll see right there. And then the 4. And there is the 2 for Cameroon. If they had been able to knock the other one, and they could have advanced a low-scoring 7-6 win. And now Argentina against England for a spot in the semifinals. England again in the red. Argentina with the baby blue. Matching the color of their country's flag. A 2 for England, and that might be it. It is. Everybody else holds. There's a 6 and a couple by the 10s, but neither are able to make their way into or through that area and lock in the points. So England wins it by a final of 2-0. Mexico and Chile now. Mexico hasn't knocked anybody in now. Now they have a 4. There's a 7. One more left. It is not going to go in. And it's a tie, but Mexico is going to advance. There is no rego, or like an extra overtime period, as Mexico scored in the larger holes, and so they get the tiebreaker win. They're into the semifinals. That'll be controversial, as Portugal and Brazil take on each other now. There's a 4, a 6 for Brazil. See if anybody else can score. There's a 4 for Brazil, a 6 for Portugal, and a 4 for Brazil again. They will advance with a 14-10 win. There's one of them. There goes the 6 for Brazil. There was a 4. There was a 6. And then we'll watch at the end, Brazil gets the bounce, and they knock it through the 4 to advance to the semifinals, which is set. Mexico, India, England, and Brazil. As Mexico wins on the controversial ruling, and now they'll try to take on India and see if they can beat India as well. Make their way into the finals. Saw a couple 2s. There is another 2 for Mexico. There's a 10, and that'll do it. Mexico needed help, and they got it. At the very end, they score a 10 after the first 2 went to 2s, and you see India at the bottom right corner at the 8 hole, unable to knock it through. Mexico advances to the championship, and they will face either England or Brazil. Loser will take on India in the 3rd place matchup. Winner gets Mexico for all the marbles. There was a 10, and a 7, a 2. Let's see if Brazil can come up with a clutch shot near one of the one of the spinners. It will not collide, and that's that. England wins it thanks to that early 10. The 2 at the end helps, and just 1-7 for Brazil, so it's England against Mexico. But first it'll be India against Brazil for a spot on the podium. Brazil starts from the left side, India from the right. Make their way. There was a 10. An 8. Brazil highly scoring early. India unable to score, period. They knock in a 6. They are running out of time. They need a big hit. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. It's not going to happen. They do score a 6, but Brazil puts a 10 and an 8 on the board. There was the 10. And here comes the 8 right there. And just that 6 for India. As they are unable to get onto the podium, Brazil wins 3rd place. And now it comes down to the championship match. It is Mexico against England. And back to the top to the starting gates for the final time. The gates lift, and it's England in the red, Mexico in the green for the gold. Here we go. It's a 7, and there's a 3, both going for England. Mexico is having trouble. It looks like all of Mexico's marbles are going to stall. They are. England's going to win it. They knocked in a 7, and then at the end they get a 3, and Mexico had all of their marbles stall, and so England wins it by a shutout of 10-0. Mexico gets 2nd. Brazil will get 3rd, as they are placed onto the podium. But bragging rights, the opportunity to sit higher than the other countries, and that giant trophy all belong to England, as they are crowned champions here in this collision tournament. The effort was there, but Mexico at the end, after getting through on a technicality and then winning against India in the semifinals, they could not compete with England, as the Brits are able to take home this championship win. So congratulations to England, to Mexico, to Brazil, and to all of our competitors, as England wins this one in the tournament for the collisions with the spinners. Until next time, I'm Ricochet, and thanks for watching MSPN's coverage of Marble Fubeca. It is the ultimate test